Well, we are back. We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today we got a special guest, Mr. Tim Dowling.
Wow, that sounds so much better in person.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
Man,
oh my goodness.
I'm available for birthdays, graduations, all that, man. No, but seriously, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me. Collective pause and who?
No,
Thanks.
seriously,
guys.
though,
Thanks,
we've, crazy, filming career. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Because
Start right
Roger,
in. Yeah, okay.
Roger, we as skateboarders, we say we filmer. Right.
Right.
Raj hates that. He doesn't like it. He doesn't he likes videographer.
Camera operator.
Camera operator.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Oh, really?
Completely.
So
Absolutely.
filmer is not a good.
mean,
how does that make you?
First off, there's no film in the camera half the time.
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
actually very true.
Yeah.
We kind of slid past that whole film.
Okay.
There's tape in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay.
But even when you were
there wasn't-
skating, you're saying this?
I never called myself a filmer or videographer. Yeah, I don't know. I never really self-labeled it.
But people would always say
They would say the filmer.
The filmer.
The filmer. Yeah. I remember
So-
I had a sequence a long time ago in Big Brother magazine, and it said occasional videographer Tim Dowling.
Occasional?
Because we'll get into that because I was definitely chasing the dream and trying to.
You had a sequence. Oh, I thought you meant they grabbed your.
No. It was me.
okay.
I was doing a switch frontside flip in the ponds, over the grass gap, over the step into the ponds, and it was in a Big Brother. It was like a sequence and
Occasional
and that's how they call it. I was like, what does that mean? So it was like, oh, I guess and that kind of made me start thinking well, maybe I'm seen as a filmer. Or videographer.
Yeah,
but I do agree, Raj. Depending on the job, camera operator, director of photographer, director of photography, or cinematographer is kind of like a one-stop shop too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think skaters have just always said filmer.
Yeah.
So it's kind
Easy.
of one of those things, but.
Yeah, right.
Well, sorry if I ever offended you. It's. I never even thought about it till Raj has brought it up to my attention.
I used to put
There you go.
a lot of people would always put film by whatever, and I'd always put shot by.
Shot by.
Yeah.
Shot by. I'm thinking film.
Oh,
That's
like
what
a still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense too.
Yeah.
I think filmer just makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds easier.
Yeah.
It's
easy
one of
to
those
say.
easier. Yeah, it's one of those easier things to say. But I mean, not only you were filmed like a lot of the world stuff.
Right.
You weren't really employed by them, but freelance, right? Freelance. You did you went on to do a lot of the first girl videos, Goldfish, and all that stuff. And
it started way before that too. I mean, growing up in Santa Monica and being a local from here and skating around. I mean, I first really started shooting with people like Eric Dressen and Matt Schnur and people like that.
God.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
they were the people that kind of broke my back, so to speak, with them a lot. But even before that, growing up, I lived in Santa Monica and I had these next door neighbors who had a ramp and they would skate this thing all the time. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is this? What's going on over here? And I'd hear it,
Okay.
And so I would go next door and I started understanding kind of what it was based on seeing these guys skate this ramp.
you must have been, 10 or something?
This is probably about, 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 12,
Okay.
but around there. And so it was really funny. So they skated and then they had people that lived next door to them too, and they skated also. So there was these 6 kids, all boys, that lived on the block that all skated.
Okay.
And these people would also rent their house out to TV movies of the week and get a really, significant location fee. And so I would skate over there throughout the day and then I would hang out and watch them shoot these little movies. And so it was this kind of crazy playground, where I kind of just started thinking this is just really fun. This is a really interesting environment.
Right.
And I think, that planted a seed at some point.
Planted the seed for the most iconic skate video of all time.
Yep.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yep.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most epic opening to a skate video ever happened.
Listen, man. That started the first part is always the first and the last part is always the sickest.
It is.
You know?
It is.
Right,
Exactly.
Raj? It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But speaking of listen though, we just had our 100th episode.
Right.
Very we had Tony Hawk here and
right.
But you just came up on your 20th year.
20-year anniversary of Listen being released.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
This month you walked into Giant.
I walked into Giant. Yeah.
And
I handed them the completed project. Yeah, exactly. And 20 years ago.
crazy.
So it's funny. It's like I was trying to look back, and I'm not exactly sure when it came out. I know it came out during the summer, but I don't know the specific release date. But yeah, I have the master tape at home, and it's got June the 9th, 1998. Like written on there, completed in big letters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the last time you wore a yellow shirt?
I don't know.
You remember that, Chris? Yeah.
Not really. but
when we were filming for that, did you what was your perception of that? Were you just like, oh, we're gonna do this thing? And
it wasn't even a thing.
Really?
I mean, to me, it was just we were buddies, right? You helped me.
Sure did.
Get. Let me finish.
I kind of like,
Pass that sponsor me video around.
This fucking guy. Let me finish my sentence.
Because of that,
but seriously though,
right.
You did help. You because in my hometown in Malibu,
right.
all my friends quit skateboarding.
Okay.
They got into some other stuff.
Gotcha,
and then I had to
gotcha.
kind of go out on my own and find like a new group of skaters. And then that's when we connected and.
Do you remember when we first met? Because I was also trying to think of when that connection came to be.
I don't know. I think it was just like skating around Santa Monica and the ponds and all this stuff. I would see like Daniel Castillo and Tim Gavin and you and you know what I mean? Like it was kind of this thing. I was like, whoa, these guys are.
Hey, what's up with the ponds? Is that still is that even there?
I think it's still there.
Yeah. This exactly. I think the middle part, like where the water was filled, like you can't skate that anymore. But yeah, the curb's still there.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like always filled.
It's literally
with
a curb.
Yeah.
Let me finish my story, Kelly. So I had to go find, and then we would skate together, and you obviously were a cinematographer,
right? Yeah, exactly.
So and a great skateboarder too. You're a very good skateboarder, Fakey Vero heels. No, Fakey heels. You were good at the Fakey something.
Yeah,
what was it? Fakey,
remember it.
Fakey
I
Vero.
had frontside half cab heel flips.
That's it. Frontside. Which is a hard fucking trick, dude.
Really?
Bro.
For somebody that does
it's
heel
very
flips a lot?
awkward.
No, it's like, see, that's the funny thing. For me, going that way always felt natural. Like the board would just whip and flip and catch, and then you would go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I remember people would trip on you because that was like you would do those and whoa, kind of an awkward trick. Yeah.
You don't see a lot of those too often.
So and then like you would we skated together, and so when we were filming the Listen video, to me it was just like we were just filming and everything. I mean, I knew you were working on something, but to me it was just more like, oh, we're just going out.
Right.
Like I was just stoked to go out and skate.
Gotcha.
And have people there, you know
Paying
what I
attention.
mean though, like
yeah.
after
No, I
coming
do.
from a place with where everybody quit and then going,
Well, because we also worked together before that on Cinematographer.
Was that before Listen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Transworld video. You're gonna have to help me out on this, but I'm almost positive because after
I think
Listen,
you're right.
Huh?
I think you're right.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, and we're jumping around, and we can go through, but
totally.
yeah, so like Mouse came out, and then after Mouse was done, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, and then Atiba hit me up right away and was like, "Oh, we're gonna do this project, Cinematographer. We'd like you to have a section." And I was like, great, fantastic. And then we went off and did that. And you had
the half cab front nose grind, right?
Yeah, he like came around the wall at the Venice Pits and tray flipped the little circle gap, and then I think he probably just jumped switch stance or
you did like the hop step, I think.
Yeah, right. Then that half cab nose grind and cross, and then we skated those flat bars like down
West High,
dude. Yeah, the nose grind, shove it behind you.
I think this is my favorite episode so far. This is great. This is great. Yeah.
I was in that video too, you know.
Were you in Cinematographer? Did you
in Ray Trevor's part?
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I like ollied over a pillar, and then I think I did a wall ride and then tray flip, or maybe tray flip and wall ride.
Nobody remembers, Raj.
I used my middle name actually in that.
What's your middle name?
Allen. It says Roger Allen.
Why'd you do that?
I was like mad at my dad at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Were you sponsored too before you were a filmer or no?
No.
No, okay. Well, I wasn't sponsored either, really, but
Worked in shops.
You owned a shop.
My friend Matt owned the shop. I ran it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so no, we did Cinematographer, but I was thinking, because I was trying to remember when it was like we initially connected, having it be eons ago now. But I do remember seeing, like, I saw footage of you at Rip City. You were skating the beach caps.
Okay.
And you did like a frontside flip. It was you did a frontside flip and then like you'd tack and then turn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Like nose drive it?
Yeah.
It was sick.
It was good.
Come on.
But I was just like, because Erwin was showing me, he's like, oh, this guy I've been skating with him, and he's like really good. And so he showed me this footage and I was like, okay. And then I remember seeing you, I think my early recollections is seeing you come to the courthouse with like Alex Olson, and he was always just kind of like in your back seat or like wherever you were, like he was there too.
The baby seat?
Yeah.
I mean, he was little.
Steve Olson calls me the nanny.
Right.
Hey, I'll say something about you, Chris. That video, that's my favorite era of Chris Roberts skateboarding. Right?
Cinematographer?
No, I'm sorry.
Listen.
Listen.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have a good story too that I don't think Chris knows about Listen, where Listen came out and I got a phone call from Chris Ortiz and he said, I have two questions for you. A, do you want a job at 411? B, who the fuck is Chris Roberts? I swear.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, no joke.
Well, now how did he say it though? Did he say, Tim, who the fuck is Chris Roberts? Or did he say, who the fuck is Chris Roberts?
Stinking up the beginning of the video.
Man.
We can leave first.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, no.
It's all in the tone, baby.
It was,
Yeah.
and the tone was serious.
Okay.
And
good,
and
good.
that was
Chris
it.
Ortiz is amazing.
Yeah.
Great fucking guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Chris is phenomenal. So,
But we'll go back to this. But we'll jump back to Listen.
Yeah,
because this is a great thing. But
Yeah.
you never went to work for 411 though. You turned it down.
I did turn it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Why? They were kind of killing it at that point.
They
right?
were. It was. I think it's one of those things where, I had come from doing videos for other people for such a long time, and then Listen just kind of opened this door where I was like, well, I could do this by myself if I want to. It's just, and I wasn't the first one to produce and put out like an independent video. I think a lot of people associate Listen. It was early on.
Yeah.
But I mean, Eastern Exposures, I know Josh Stewart was doing stuff back then.
Oh, yeah.
And so like, what I did wasn't revolutionary in that sense, but it was just this idea that I don't know if I want to go do it for somebody else, if I could do it for myself.
There you go.
And I also wasn't sure if I wanted to keep doing skate videos at that time because I had been doing them. I mean, it doesn't even sound like that long if you think about it, but it was 6 years or 7 years like straight.
Yeah.
Which isn't a long time, but it felt like forever.
Sure.
And I was kind of ready to see what other avenues, what directions I wanted to go in. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, I told them thank you, but no, I'm
thanks.
gonna pass right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You made the right choice.
Kelly would maybe disagree.
No way. I mean, you did a lot of great body of work, back
thank
then.
you.
So
Yeah, appreciate
I think
that.
you did good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Speaking of great body of work, let's
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
the beginning stages because you worked for, well, you didn't work for World, but you were,
Well, no, it's
what do you call it?
Occasional-
A freelancer. Yeah, occasional filmer.
It was occasional videographer. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, even before that, it's like, well, so I guess the whole pinnacle of it was when I graduated high school. I got a high 8 camera, as a graduation present. And Raj will tell you, like, there was really nothing, and then Video 8 came out. And then High 8 came out after that, and High 8 was like this just premiere tape format based, camera system. And there weren't that many, and so I got one for graduating high school. And
Quite an expensive gift.
Exactly. It was I think it was like $1,500, something like that. Yeah. And I got a fisheye with it.
Like a little.
I think it was like a Rokinon. Or is that? Well, it had to have an adapter. It was like, dude, I don't even remember. I think it was that, but you had to have this screw-on adapter with it, and it was literally like the only one that was
step-down
available.
ring?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they had like the vignetting around.
Oh yeah,
it.
yeah. And
right.
then, which I never got rid of, obviously. But yeah.
Would some people try to get rid of they would like zoom it in or something?
No, I don't think so. But I think people after a certain point just didn't want to see the vignette anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, but I always embraced it. I always liked the vignette. So
cool.
I ran with it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the funny thing too is like even before that, like my dad had bought this shoulder cam JVC Panasonic camera.
The tape and
the
everything,
VHS
right.
tape that would literally just pop into that thing. And I was Oh man, I was probably 12 or 13. It's funny because it's like right around the same time I was going next door a lot to skate, and I was watching these TV movies of the week being filmed, and then my dad gets this camera.
Right.
And so like I got a hold of this thing. I was like, this is unbelievable. You know, it was like a little television studio on my shoulder.
There you go.
You know, so I started making all these little movies, and when I graduated high school, I got this high 8 tape. And at that same time, I was also really, really, really skating like seriously, you know, like really going after it.
Right.
And so I basically I met Sam Barrowald.
Yes.
And Sam Barrowald
You're
is...
going to hear his name a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like Sam is kind of like, I'd say like the unsung hero of like the West Side skate scene. See, Sam lived on this street in Brentwood called Anita.
Yeah.
And he had a ramp in his front yard. It was like this 4-foot tall mini ramp in his front yard. But you had to know somebody who knew Sam. Like, you just couldn't go skate this thing. Super exclusive, right? And so I got lucky and I met somebody who knew Sam, and then I started skating his ramp. And at Sam's ramp, I met like Eric Dressen, and I met Naudis, and I met just these people that you would see skating around, but I got to know who they were.
Yeah.
And so I started skating with Eric a lot, and I kind of got put on team Dressen, I guess you would say.
Okay, so he was giving you stuff. He
would give me board. He would give me whatever I want. Yeah, and then funnily enough, at that point in time too, like Sims was coming back, and Frank Corrado was on Sims at that time, and I think that was through Santa Cruz, if I'm not mistaken.
NHS, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Huh.
And so like he got me on Sims, you know, and so I literally skated for Sims for probably like, I don't know, 6 months or something.
You were on the team.
Yeah, I was officially on Sims.
Did you
Yeah.
have a part in the first video?
No, I didn't. I came in right after that, and then I was filming with Eric a lot for it.
wow.
Yeah. So
Is there any footage out there of you?
technically, yes. So if you watch,
You were in the ending, what was it, backside double flip over the hip or something?
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Was that in Mouse or something?
No,
was that
it's in a World video.
Oh, maybe
or an
World?
FTC video.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I know I'm in the credits of one. I think it's got one of the FTC videos. Like after the video's over, there's
Yeah.
just a slew of footage, and I have a line at Embarcadero where I do like a frontside pop shove it. I cruise around, do a kickflip frontside no slide,
Oh, yeah.
and then to fake it. Huh?
Did you kind of sandbag it?
No way.
Raj, you know who this is?
Maybe I did. I don't remember. But I cruise around and then I do a frontside half cab heel.
Okay.
And so I had that 3-trick
I remember
line.
that.
But there's no name up. You know, like if you
Yeah.
knew it was, because I think Maze just threw it in there.
And then Los Feliz, the backside double flip over the
Yeah,
hip
totally
and stuff.
forgot
Yeah.
about that. Right.
So
Wow, how do you,
come on, bro.
you remember that?
Yeah.
Short answer is there's a little bit. But like me and my friends would make these little skate videos ourselves, you know, and like just kind of have them and we all watch them.
Right.
And that was about it. But that's funny too, because when we would make those, you know, I never liked how the tricks I was doing were being filmed. And so I always wanted to film them better for the other person.
Yep.
You know, and so I think that initially sparked like this idea of
Yeah.
of shooting it really well. And that was all done with this high camera that I got.
Okay.
And so when I finally started connecting with Eric and skating with Eric a lot, he was like, yeah, you know, the Strange Notes videos were popular, and you probably have no idea what that is.
No, they made a lot of those, but
Yeah.
not the early, I never saw the early ones.
High
though.
karate was sick.
I don't remember the names of
Aren't
them.
they still making those?
I don't think they make them
No.
anymore, but they
There
went on
was
for
like,
a long
it's like a little bit of
time.
a web series for a bit.
Up until okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say it's
Yeah, but they would have like this series of videos that would only come out, I think they would only send them to the shops. Like you couldn't buy them or anything.
Yeah, it was like every 6 months.
Right. Exactly. And Eric was like, I need footage for like a Strange Notes thing. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like, okay, let's film, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I respect, and this is something that I think I try to even apply today is in terms of like, I respected Eric so much that I would have been mortified if he watched something that he did that I filmed that he didn't like.
Oh, right.
You know, because he was
Right.
my friend and
he was Eric Dressen.
and he was Eric Dressen, exactly. Like, and that's a funny thing. It's like even growing up in Santa Monica, I was really just blessed in that area and being surrounded by celebrity. You know, like no joke. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger lived 2 blocks away, and you know, no, seriously, you'd see him around all the time.
He owned like half of Main Street at one point in time.
Seriously?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was there, and you know, like Robert Zemeckis, the film director.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump. I mean, he moved in
Wow.
across the street.
Damn.
You know, so like I knew who these guys were and I respected them, but I also wasn't necessarily intimidated by their celebrity because I grew up around
Just-
it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's LA, right?
It
You're
is.
not- right.
But it was just this idea that I just wouldn't be okay with the fact that Eric would be bummed on something
Totally.
that I filmed. And I remember like we filmed this man. I remember one of the first things I ever shot with him. We were in like Century City, and it was just this parking garage, and it was this long downhill Manny, and it just went forever, you know. And like he did it. And he was like, let's watch it back. We watched it back, and it was like a long clip. And I'm just sitting there sweating bullets, like watching him. And then he looks up, he's like, dude, you filmed it so good.
Oh, wow.
I was like, and then to me, it was like, I was off to the races.
You got the pat. Like, you got the okay.
Exactly. Right. It was cool. And so then we just, and that's how it started. It started very kind of natural and very organic. And I was with my friends. And,
totally.
And that's how I started filming. So, you know, there you go.
That's it. Thanks for coming. Shortest show ever. 20 minutes. No, but seriously, because Sam Bearwald's house was the episode. I mean, all the world
hubbub.
Guys would go there. Tim Gavin, Guy, like all. It was just. I mean, his name.
Cool parents.
His name is really cool.
Yeah, the coolest parents in the world. And you always hear like these stories of like this one person who kind of like helped shepherd all these artists or whatever. You know, there's that one catalyst that just kind of like brought everybody together, and that was Sam, and that was his house, and we called it headquarters. Like if you wanted, and you know, obviously before cell phones and all this other stuff, like if you wanted to meet up with everybody, you just kind of go to Sam's, you know, and like you would show up, like if you were with Sam at dinner, you come back to his house, there'd be like 8 cars lined up in front waiting for him to come home.
But his parents would like make dinner for everybody, and they were just really like, they loved everybody kind of hanging out there.
Absolutely.
You know,
they were into production too, right?
What's that?
His family was
his mom, his mom was a television producer, did super well. His dad was a writer. And I mean, it was just like an open door policy. Totally. They were super nice. As long as you were cool to them and like you respected the house.
Which
and,
everybody did.
Which everybody
much.
did.
I mean, once in a while, maybe it would kind of get a little out of control.
That happened maybe once or twice. Yeah.
But, you know, they were great, like gracious people.
And as you say, too, it's funny because, I met like Kareem and Daniel and all of those guys through Sam also. Yeah. So, you know, you have a lot to thank in terms of what I did for you, and I have a lot to thank Sam for as well. Yeah.
Well, we'll save the thank yous for after the show. No, but seriously though, like, I mean, I do owe a lot to you.
No.
I do. Seriously, no, because I literally had to go find somebody, and we somehow bonded. You know. Yeah. Raj says it was him, but I think it was you.
I made you famous.
That's
fucking
right.
Guy. No, but seriously though, but Sam Bearwald, like I'm hanging with you, like I got introduced to Sam Bearwald's house and meeting. I mean, just crazy.
Right. It was kind of like art.
I'm starstruck. You know, I'm sitting there with Tim Gavin and Guy Mariano, and I'm just like, dude, I was like,
what's going on here?
Months ago, or maybe I was like in Malibu with my buddies, and here I am fucking sitting with Guy and like all these people, and like Guy and Gavin would even drive to my house in Malibu in Sam's car
to come pick you up.
To come pick me up.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah. And Sam would let you take his car.
Dude,
like you go skate at night, and he would stay home, and like we would go skate, and we'd come back.
I'm in the back seat of the car, man. Like I can't. Like Guy Mariano and Tim Gavin just picked me up at my house.
Right.
How crazy. And we probably just went back to Sam's.
Yeah,
it probably was just not even to go skate.
Probably. Yeah, we just all hang. It was kind of, I guess, you know, in a way it was like our E&B. I mean, you probably had a place in Laguna growing up where everybody came together.
Just hang out.
I guess, but it wasn't like skate oriented. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But totally, that's really cool.
So from there, obviously, filming Eric D and all these World guys around, you started filming for World. Right? Am I jumping too far ahead right now, or
not really? I mean, there was. Do you remember Planet Earth, like Cat's Cradle video? Okay, so
red cover with the hands.
Oh, I don't remember the cover. Really? Is that what it was? Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
know.
Roger remembers everything.
Yeah,
so.
Don't question if it was.
It had like 2 hands coming in on it or something.
It had like hands with like some string.
I just remember, so after Eric, I met and like I'd still skate with Eric and still film with him, but then, you know, this is now, you know, fast forward a year or so, this is like early 90s, you know, and so like everything's kind of changing and I'm still trying to chase the dream. And I meet Matt Schnur. And you know,
that really changed your life.
He had like 2 parts in that video.
That's exactly it. So
he had like opening part and last part.
That's kind of why I feel like it's an important stepping stone from Eric to pre-World days. Okay. You know, because funnily enough, I always thought it was strange that Matt was just 100% part of that crew, but not on World. You know, like all those dudes were
I always
like,
found that interesting too.
Yeah,
he never
he's
really.
from Arizona.
he's from well, so is
Tim Gavin.
and so is Randy Colvin.
Yeah.
I mean, so are those guys, you know. But Matt just, and it wasn't like he was bummed or he tried to like get on the World camp, but like he found a home at Planet Earth, and that's just where that's
right.
where he was.
Right.
And so Schnurr was like, okay, yeah, I don't love the guy to death, man. You know, it's hilarious. But
Yeah.
he basically was like, me and you are gonna go film.
Oh, he told you.
Like
Yeah.
basically,
You had no choice.
there's a video, like I can't remember which one it is, but like it might be Pack of Lies at the very beginning. I'm pretty sure it is. Like Daewon standing there, and then
Give me the background before you edit.
Yeah.
yeah. And if you listen closely, I'm in the background too, and Schnurr walks up. He's like, "Yo, Tim, can you just like go kick it on the curb and get it?"
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's what he would say, like to whenever, because I'd want to skate.
But there was even a clip of Chico saying that too.
Oh.
Hey, just kick it on the curb and get it.
That's what Matt would say
Yeah.
to me all the time. Yeah, like wherever we would go and skate, Matt would be, because I'd have my camera, you know, I'd film or whatever, but I also wanted to skate. But you know, right? It is, you know. And the thing too is like, well, yeah, I mean, this dude could probably go film or whatever, but I know I'm gonna do it better. You know, it's just, and it's not like a pretentious, like cocky thing. It's just
Right.
like, it was my camera. I knew how to work it, kinda.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, well, it's just better if I do it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so yeah, man. Like, I would just
kick it on the curb and get
I would
it.
kick it on the curb and get it, and
come-
and that turned into, you know, day in after day out, to him sleeping at my house, to us going to the ponds at like 9:30 in the morning
Wow.
before anybody woke up so we could get clips. And then we would just kind of run that, you know,
Okay.
and we would skate together and we would film together. And I would get like a pair of Planet Earth jeans every now and again, you know, for it.
Yeah.
Those pants were good.
They were fucking amazing,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
That brush twill.
Yeah, it's really good. So that's kind of what I was getting at. So like that happened
Yeah.
for, I mean, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months now looking at it in hindsight,
Okay.
but it felt like forever.
I bet.
And yeah, so when Cat's Cradle came out, this is one of these things too, where you film and film and film and film and film, and then you go down to San Diego and you go to Planet Earth and you hand over the tapes.
To Felix Arguelles, probably.
Well, it was Chris Miller.
All right.
Chris
Oh, wow.
was there, yeah, and which was sick for me because I loved Miller. I mean, just watching him skate vert was unbelievable.
Still.
So
Still,
good, yeah. Is he?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure, he still has it for sure. His style is impeccable.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, then it'd be like pack a box, you know, like, and I would be so hyped,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like just filmed for so long, so many days, and like got a box and going home with a big fat box. you know?
Yeah.
And then Cat's Cradle came out, and yeah, Matt had, I think he skated a Hieroglyphics or Souls of Mischief. I think he had a Souls of Mischief song in there.
Souls, yeah.
I want to say that. I could be wrong, but I want to say
He had
that.
two parts, I know
Yeah,
that.
two parts.
Amazing.
He opens the video and he closes the video.
insane.
Yeah.
Now, did you get paid for
No.
this?
Well, for
you didn't
product, yeah.
Okay.
Which I was more than happy to take because I was like 19,
I was
man.
gonna
Like,
say the 6, 17,
so
18,
young,
yeah.
dude. And I was that had to have been 19
Okay.
because, I mean, I know Girl started when I was just about to turn 20, or I just turned 20 because it was September and my birthday's in September. And
Okay.
that was 93.
Yeah.
And so it was before that. It was obviously before that. And I was filming with the World guys and the 101 guys and the Plan B guys a little bit too, you know,
Damn,
dude.
before that.
That's
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like I was, you know, it's kind of luck of the draw.
And there
you
wasn't
know?
many like people with cameras back
No,
then.
there wasn't. And
It
that's
was like you and Sock.
basically
in LA.
Yeah. And well, there was like, you know, there's Jacob Rosenberg, who
Oh,
was
yeah.
like Plan B guy, you know.
Schloss
But he was
Bach.
like more SF.
Well,
Or
where, yeah, he
Nick
wasn't. He
Nasty,
wasn't.
yeah.
He wasn't based where we were.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was like San Diego, and
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of around wherever the Plan B guys were. And then there was like
Schlossbach.
Dave Schlossbach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if they own their own gear. Maybe they got company gear. But you're right. Nobody else had a camera, and so kind of by default, you know, I just fell into it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I also saw an opportunity because I had a camera and nobody else did, and I was surrounded by insane talent.
Yeah.
You know, like
Seriously.
insane talent, and wanting again to document it really well, and having just having a ridiculous amount of respect for all these people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you watch, which it's got to be virtual reality, where Rick's part starts and he's at, which is now Jaquan, but we called it Beneficial back then.
Yeah.
And there's like a homeless guy.
Yep.
like telling him how to ollie the gap.
Yeah.
And so
Back pedal.
what's that?
Kick the back paddle.
Yeah, hit the back tail, and you got to run up and catch it up over here. I mean, I shot that.
Oh,
I
wow,
filmed that. Yeah,
okay.
and you hear like this really weird giggle laugh in the background. Like that's
you.
That's me. Yeah. people thought it was Megan who shot it because
it's like high pitched, like laugh
so
or whatever.
ridiculous. But it's like so I would film with these people. You know, probably. Like you said, like I just wanted to be around skating. I love skating. I wanted to skate myself. I had the camera, and there you go. So it just kind of naturally unfolded. Like
I love
that.
it. Right. And
yeah.
actually looking behind you, there's a Big Brother here where you filmed Costin, what is it, switch frontside flip?
It's a frontside flip. That's
frontside flip.
Yeah,
down
flip.
The airport double set. Yeah, I think we called it the airport. I forget.
Imperial.
Imperial. That's right.
Imperial double set.
Actually, were you the one that missed the switch tray flip?
No,
Oh.
Sock missed it.
Oh,
yeah.
Sock. Okay.
I think his battery ran out. Like I don't think it was. I think it was his battery. But I don't know.
Guy Mariano. Switch tray.
Dude,
The Imperial double set.
It's so gnarly.
Yeah. What was it? The 2 flat 2 or 3 flat 3?
It was a 3. It was a 3 flat 3, and the flat part was
long.
Yeah. I ollie that thing, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I swear, like that
Because it was low. It wasn't high. It was just long.
Yeah, and it was marble, and I was always like intimidated of marble. If you fall on marble, like you're gonna get hurt.
Oh,
and it was just, but you had runway for days. But so yeah, no, it's.
But you filmed that.
Yeah.
And then they screen grabbed it and because that's what they used to do. They used to screen grab and turn it into sequences.
It's got your name on the cover too.
I know it's got your name on there.
That was a back cover. So yeah, when Big Brother did this. So yeah, this is again precursor to Girl.
Yeah.
And I remember this very well also where of course I was with Schnur.
Okay.
Because I had my camera.
What's funny is it says 101 sequence shots.
It was a 101 ad.
101. Yeah.
And so yeah, Eric, and Schnur were at this contest in Long Beach and like we were just hanging out. And so we're driving back and Eric's like, there's, this Imperial double set. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you want to stop by and shoot? And I'm like, sure.
Eric Costin. Yeah. You could probably get the trick in 3 tries.
I just didn't even matter what it was. We can go slappy a curb. I'd be down to shoot it. But he pulls up and he just starts flinging this frontside flip and he did it within 3 tries.
3 tries.
No joke. No joke.
Tries.
And that's the funny thing. So then I met up with Nodis. He took the tape from me and then he was I don't know what he was gonna use it for, but he heard that I had it. I connected with him. I gave it to him, and then I walked into World Industries about a month later, and the Big Brother was sitting on the coffee table, and that was the back cover. And I flipped it over. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
It's screen grabs.
Yeah, it's funny because like people, I guess, don't like the screen grab sequence like thing. It just looks cheap. I guess it does.
Back then it did.
But I never saw it like that. Yeah. I was like, I was just blown away that something I filmed just out of the blue, made on the back cover of a Big Brother.
Plus with your name in fucking...
That big.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe it. Wow. It was, because that's the thing. It's like, I don't know how, like credit... It's like I don't know. I don't think I wasn't looking for credit back then. I wasn't like, "Yo, Tremaine, man, I filmed that." It wasn't like that at all. And I walk in, I see that my name is as big as Eric's. Like,
it's actually bigger. Yeah.
I guess.
We'll make Costin's name a little smaller.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, that was just you couldn't pay me. Like getting a check for that would not equate to how it felt. Seeing something like that.
Right. I mean, looking at that right now reminds me of, and I don't even know if you remember this, but hanging out with you, you would like show me.
Oh gosh.
Like footage.
No way.
Such a bad idea.
But Tim, that had an impact on me.
Oh, really?
Because, I mean, you see these guys in the videos and you're seeing everything first try.
Right.
And then when you're seeing this
raw tape
of like Costin front side, I don't know, I don't even remember the tricks.
Yeah.
You're just like, now I could relate to these people.
It brought it down a level for you.
Yeah.
Right. Three tries for the Imperial double set.
I mean, but still, like I would watch this. I would watch this raw footage because we would just be at your house hanging out, and watching skate videos or just watching. I mean, but you say it's a bad idea, but why?
Well,
because I mean,
well, not that I showed
not that I'm like
it to
recording it or
no,
anything,
I know, but think of what if I what if the tape got jacked?
Oh.
You know, like what if going back, because you would go over.
But you need to put on a transfer tape.
Well, yeah,
but back then,
we did do that. So at the World Park, going back a little bit more, like so the World Park was the World Park, and we all skated there, and that was like.
But stock has set up in there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they had like a 3/4 inch like dubbing system and everything. So you would come in and whatever he had shot, he would dub to like this master tape, and you could watch the master tape all day long.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in case something happened to it, your footage is secure, right?
Yeah.
But. Dude, yeah, we're like, come on over, everybody. Let's see what we did today. Like, I mean, like,
but it wasn't like that.
I know,
it was
but
just
I
me.
just
It
can't-
was just us hanging out,
Right.
and we were just watching
Yeah.
like raw clips.
But you're playing
you
off the
know?
high 8 tape.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
playing it off
Yeah.
the original.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. It's like I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like,
Well,
footage parts.
now 2020 hindsight, like because I
of
didn't
course.
blink an eye at it.
yeah,
back
no,
then.
just watch some. But I mean, like that had an impact on me because
Right.
now I get to see these guys doing their tricks, you
Right.
know, and like all the bales,
Right.
you know, and I wanted to
Right,
see the
right,
bales,
right.
you know.
Sure. And that's funny. I remember Dubs would be so into footage. Like we would go on trips and we'd film all day, and then we'd go back to the hotel room. We'd be like going to sleep, like making sure batteries or chargers in there. Dubs like watching everything we shot through the camera. All like for hours into the night.
Duran, hey man, this is dope.
Dude, rewind it back and forth.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why now, you know,
Oh, that was buttery.
it's just like tape wears
Dubs is here.
tape wears out. You know,
Oh, totally.
tape wears out.
Yeah.
Tape glitches. Like tape is a very fragile medium, so
You
to
don't wanna
speak.
fuck with it.
You don't, and I just didn't think of it like
Flies
that.
all of a sudden.
You know, so yeah, we got a bunch of gnats here.
Fucking Rogers hat. You know what? It's
Shitload
the
of
summertime. They fucking flies.
Kelly brought bananas home. That's why.
Oh, Kelly.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
But you weren't, like I said, you weren't working for them. You were freelance, occasional filmer.
Right, exactly. And that happened a couple of times where, you know, I don't know if you remember, but in the end of my cinematographer part, Guy does, it's like this, it looks like a front side, I don't even know.
Front
what
blunt, but it transfers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like he gets into like back crooks.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
What's around his leg?
It's around legs.
Is that at
like
Ralph's?
Yeah.
Oh, Ralph's on Bundy.
On Bundy and
Yeah.
Welsh, it's no longer there.
Yeah.
But then he also, before that, he does like front side tail slide, and then he does like a kick flip, like a fakie flip over. And like that footage, I don't know whatever happened to that, but that became a sequence too.
Oh.
And so this happened a couple of times where I'd be flipping through a magazine and be like, oh my God, like I shot that.
And
you
they
know?
they wouldn't even tell you. They would just print
No,
these things
they
up
just-
and not even pay you.
No.
No. But you're getting product and
But
whatever
exactly.
you want. I mean, World Days,
But that's the
right?
thing too. You have to remember, I'm also trying to.
Just 20 years old, 19 years old.
Well,
Yeah.
and I wanted it to get sponsored. Like as much as it. See, this was my idea was like, okay, I could shoot with all these guys. I could basically have the best seat in the house. You know, that's kind of how I looked at it. I can get all the product I want, right? Like because they're gonna kick it back to me, and then. I'm trying to get on the team, you know?
Right.
I'm trying to get actually sponsored. So I just was trying to work all these different angles, I
No one
guess.
was no one was shooting a sponsor me tape though.
I guess not. No. I'd skate.
You needed Raj there.
I don't know. Yeah, Sock filmed a couple things of me. But you know, by the time, see, here's the thing too. It's like I never kind of would jump in on that session. So after he'd shoot all day, I'd be like, dude, can we get this clip? He'd be like, no, I'm done. I'm like,
Would you ever go out with Sock and do double angles or anything for anything?
no. See, that's the thing. Like even for all the way up and through Mouse, almost it
was unheard of almost,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't. We just wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like if he was filming, I was skating.
Yeah.
That type of thing. You know,
Vice
that was
versa,
vice.
right? Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So man, no. So anyway, so yeah, getting money honestly was the farthest thing. I didn't think about it at all.
Living with your
At all.
parents.
Yeah.
You got. I mean, what do you need money for?
It
right? This
basically,
wasn't-
yeah, you have $5, you got Taco Bell
There
for
you
the
go.
day, and you're done. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, like
Yeah.
that was priorities. It was skate and then
Taco Bell.
film. And
Yeah.
Yep, basically. Well, you were Panda,
Oh,
dude. This guy here was
Panda.
a Panda guy.
Orange chicken, half and half. Oh my god.
Yeah, there was one on like Montana. Remember, like
Bro.
8th or something. Yeah, there was one in that
Oh, yeah.
plaza, and like this dude was like, "Oh, let's go to Panda." I'm like, "Fuck, all right."
Ooh, Beijing beef. Yeah. Love that shit.
Yeah.
I still go, Tim.
do you
yeah,
really?
In the marina, they have one. I go
Should
there
take-
once in a while.
Just bring my kids. They love to eat that.
Oh
with
my
you.
god.
Yeah.
I get a little side of the little 2 egg rolls with the sweet and
He
sour.
was a
Anyway,
Panda guy. Yeah.
didn't you have like an opportunity choice to make? You wanted to go to girl or
Well-
go to or stay or with World?
Well, it's funny. So then when that whole thing happened, when Girl came up
in 93.
in 93. So yeah, September of 93. I'll never forget this. So Back to the City Jam, is that what they call that contest series, right? And there was one in San Francisco. And so like all the guys that made up the newly formed girl team, they all had girl shirts printed. You know the story, right? So they made girl shirts printed there, and they said poof. You know, they went here we are. You know, they all entered the contest, or they showed up at the contest as girl skateboards.
Did you know
what
was going on?
I did.
You had no idea.
I had no idea.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Because you were friends with
yeah, of course, they're my friends, absolutely.
Yes.
You know, but no, I just wasn't. You know, that's a funny thing too, like being around that caliber skating, it's kind of bittersweet because it's so amazing, but then it's so kind of humbling to realize you're never going to be that
You're
good.
never.
Like that's a plateau, that's a level that like I could try and I could try and I could try and I'm just not going to get there, you know? It is what it is, you know?
You were there that day at Back to the City?
No, I wasn't up there.
All right.
So what happens is they go up there, they unleash this to everybody, which I'm guessing is on a weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
I would love to know like what Tronansky and like Rocco's response was.
I'm sure those guys were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, they and again, times no cell phones, no social media. You know, you just hear what happened through word of mouth, basically.
Yeah.
So I catch wind that this happened. I was like, whoa, you know, because like, I mean, people also don't maybe realize, or understand like how gnarly Rocco was and how powerful Rocco was and what a hold he had on the skate industry. And
I think he's still pretty powerful.
yeah.
But back then,
but he just had the market cornered.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for lack of a better phrase. And so I was just like, wow, these guys are gonna go and do their own thing. This is gnarly. Like
a lot of balls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I'm out of a job. That's what I thought. I was like, oh my goodness.
Can
okay.
I be your filmer?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, so then what I did first was, after I found out, it must have been that next week, I called Rodney and I was like, hey man, I heard, I know you know, like what's going on? Can I still shoot for World? Can I still film for you guys? Because again, Sock was on like salary payroll. He was their guy and I was just, you know, a freelancer. And so I still wanted to make sure I was able to, you know, continue doing what I was doing. And he was like, well, you know, things are kind of in a transitional period, but let's figure something out. We'll figure something out. I'm like, okay, great. And then no joke, 2 days later, sitting at home, my phone rings and it's Mike Tronansky.
Wow.
And he's like, you know, we're gonna be solidifying things now, and with all the change and this, that, the other thing, and we want you to be, you know, a filmer for World.
Okay.
Like we want to put you on salary, we want to lock you down. We want to send you to Vancouver tomorrow to go film with Danny Way and Colin McKay. No joke.
Wow.
I was like, okay. Yeah. I was thinking, like, how do I film Vert? Like, I've never filmed Vert before. Like,
You'll figure it out.
Fish eyes and Vert. I don't know. Okay. That was first thing. So I was like, yeah, this okay. Sick. Like, super psyched. Because again, like, growing up, watching skate videos, Shackle Me Not. I mean, dude, I was just blown away that Tronansky was calling me.
But did you not think in your mind too, like, well, maybe these are all my buddies going over making this new company. Maybe they need a filmer.
No thought
really
like that whatsoever. Yeah, I guess you would think it would be kind of maybe common sense or something. Yeah. But no, I didn't think of it like that at all. I honestly didn't.
You felt like you had your place over at World already, kind of.
You
had your foot in the door.
I was established over there. So I kind of felt like, well, that's the camp that I've been filming with. I've been under the World banner, so I guess I'm sticking there. I mean, I'm barely 20 years old, if that, you know, so I didn't know.
Sure.
So, okay, yeah, Mike, this sounds cool. I'm super, super down. So psyched, thank you. And then there's something back in the day called call waiting. You know, you know, like so call waiting. So like you didn't get a busy signal, you get another call coming through.
Yeah, but
like,
you have to push, you have to hang up for a split second, and then.
Well, there's a button on your phone called flash, and you hit the flash button.
Or you can hang up too. I think you could like click over.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had a cordless.
I don't remember that though. I mean, Raj has told me. Raj has told me the stories.
Yeah, Kelly's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I knew a little bit.
But yeah, so then my call waiting goes off. Kaboop. You know, I'm like, oh, sorry, Mike, let me just grab this. You know, call waiting. It's Rick Howard. And Rick's like, hey man, so I'm sure you've heard by now, we've started this company called Girl, and we want you to be our full-time videographer.
Wow.
We're going to hire you to film for Girl. I was like,
You're like, hold on.
yeah, it was
Mike, hey, what's the offer? Okay, hold on. Rick, so like like a movie.
Yeah. Dude, it was like a bidding war. No. Yeah.
No, okay. But it sounds funny.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, yeah, Rick, I definitely heard. Hang on a second, Went back to Mike Tanansky and just told him, thank you so much. Let me think about it.
Okay.
Like, I'll get back to you tomorrow.
That was quick thinking right on off your feet, to think about that real quick. Like, not say no or not say yes, but like, let me think about it.
I think I was in shock. I wasn't sure what to do.
What the hell's going on right
Basically, yeah, because it was insane.
But that was literally on the same phone call?
Yeah, the same phone call. The same phone call. Like, I'm sitting there not knowing who I'm going to film for or what I'm going to do or whatever, and I get a call from Mike Tanansky, who I've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe passed by him in the halls at World at best, but never had like interaction with him whatsoever. And he calls and he like knows who I am, and he's asking me to be their full-time filmer.
Wow.
And like, and hocus pocus, I mean, these videos this guy were just they solidified themselves, like,
oh my god,
it's insane. It's
crazy.
insane. And so then I get Rick on the other line,
and you tap back,
I tap I told what's that?
Did you tell Rick Taransky was on the line?
No, I didn't. No, I don't know if Rick.
That would have been a bad move. I think you did it right. You said, "Let me think about it, Mike, and I'll talk to you tomorrow." Or something.
But I also said the same thing to Rick.
You did?
I didn't accept Rick's offer either.
Interesting.
I said, "Let me think about it. Let me just get right back to you. Let me get right back to you." Because I honestly thought,
let me ingest this information.
Basically, yeah, absolutely.
Well, those were like major career changes.
Oh yeah,
that would have been a huge one way. The other way, it would have been a whole different story. For the rest of your life, almost.
And it's funny. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's funny you're saying career is like career. Career hadn't even started yet. It's like I'm still trying to get sponsored. You know what I mean?
Seriously. And now you got two people asking you.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's nuts.
Right.
It was nuts. So yeah, I said basically, let me get back to both of you. Got off the phone, and I literally hung up thinking I was gonna still go to the World Camp. I really did, because it was just
They're
what
already established.
Probably what it was too. Yeah, I mean, Girl, what's Girl? Like,
and how long is it going to last? Maybe, or this or that, or I mean,
I didn't know anything. Right. I didn't think about any of that. It just felt like I knew more people and I knew the world environment. That was just familiar, So I was like, oh, that's probably the direction I'll go. And then, I woke up the next day. I'm like, you're tripping.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. Like,
it's good. You
all the best dudes are over here.
Well, it was just like, it was the majority. I think what it really was, I weighed it down to where were more of my friends, because like Day One was still at World, and there was I'm trying to think of who else was still there.
And
at that
Chocolate
point.
hasn't even started yet.
No,
it's just Girl.
No, it's just Girl.
So you don't even know that Chico and all these people would be
not
moving over
or
coming over.
Right, like Shiloh is still on World. Like go. I filmed with him a lot too. And I just waited out. I was like, well, I just film with Rick a lot now, and Mike's around, and Sharon, and
Totally.
I'm like, well, I have more friends over here. I'm gonna go that way.
Did you ask Rick, like, what about Schnurr? Is he
He's good with planning.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't want to fuck Chris Miller.
But it's rad that you like waited, like slept on it.
Yeah.
Sleeping on it is always the best decision to make, because you really can digest it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Process it and just kind of come to terms with it. Yeah.
But did you have to call Ternasky back and say, hey,
I called Rodney. I
Okay.
didn't know how to get in touch with Ternasky.
No.
Yeah. He's like this mythical figure.
Right. There was no caller ID. You couldn't have his number. Yeah.
No. I called Rodney. I was like, look, I'm gonna go film for Girl.
Okay. And did you guys jump right into Goldfish?
I mean, we jumped right into filming, basically. That eventually became Goldfish, but it's one of those things too. So I'm 20. Like I have had this camera for a couple years. Like I'm still learning about white balance. I'm still learning about exposure. I'm still learning about shutter speeds. I'm still learning about this, that, the other thing, and it was a massive learning curve, but shooting every day and getting in the mix that quickly, I think, elevated it a little bit. Right. But I was just still learning. So, I watched that stuff back, and I'm always like, oh God, like,
Yeah.
it's so painful to
Is
watch.
it?
Yeah, I love seeing the tricks because it brings back like a real nostalgia
There
for
you go.
that point in time. But I see how he shot it. I'm like, oh God.
But that was your school, right? That
Yeah.
was your filming school because, I mean, what
It was my film school.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
You're right.
and I'm gonna say it. You pioneered like filming from the front.
Yeah.
Like
Did I?
people were tripping
Really?
on you because you were the
Wow.
best videographer to film from the. You would always
Wow.
film lines from the front, and people would be like, "Dude, that's so sick."
Thank you.
Yeah, but you
Early
did
film.
though. You
Okay.
but why were you thinking you wanted to film from the front, or because you remember filming from the front?
I do. What I remember clicking kind of after a certain point was understanding that I could control the way you saw a trick.
Okay.
And I was in the driver's seat, you know? So, that's kind of like, sounds like a power trip type of thing, but that's how I got really excited about that. So if I shoot it from this direction, you know,
You're gonna see the flip do this and see the person's body and the foot.
but you're also not going to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be like an element of surprise, you know? And so like just understanding like where a camera could be and create it with a little bit more kinetic energy and make it a little bit more dynamic or make it a little bit more mysterious. You know, I specifically remember, this is in Mouse. Eric grinds a white bar at the old Santa Monica Mall, or
the mall.
the mall, right, with palm trees.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Is it
everything.
white and black, whatever?
On bricks. There were bricks.
There's bricks,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah. And so I shot that from the front because he did a couple, and I filmed one long lens, and it just wasn't feeling right. And so I was like, well, if I film this from the front, then it's gonna probably make the bar maybe
Longer.
look a little longer than it is, but you're also not gonna know you're not gonna know when the ending's coming.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay. And then there was these palm trees, and like, it's funny, like once you kind of figure out and feel where the camera should be, the right place for the camera, all this other stuff kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
It all just kind of works.
Right.
And so that one was like, okay, yeah. And then he did it, you know, 2 tries later.
I'm sure,
And boom, it was done, you know? But it was like, it was just long, and you just had no idea where he's going or where it's going to end.
Yeah.
You know, the same one with, there's a line of guy in his part at, was it LA High, where the brick banks in the, so
the no side?
inside the school, there's that handrail.
Yep.
You were changing the shutter speed on that.
Exposure.
Exposure, I'm sorry.
Exposure.
Yeah,
But
I
it was the
remember that
same
line.
thing. So he does like a half cab heel over a trash can. Again, like I didn't want you to see the first obstacle he was going to hit. I wanted that to be a surprise.
Oh.
And so boom, he pops it, and then the trash can comes into frame. And it's
Yeah.
like really kind of, I thought it was really exciting.
Yeah.
But then, he cruises into this dark hallway. And like,
Half cab
I was
trucks.
panicking, man, because like, for that shot, like you had to know where the iris dial was on the camera, and I had to take a reading basically of the exposure on the trash can and the exposure on the handrail.
How many clicks it is?
And I had to feel how many bumps it was, because you couldn't. I mean, this
Is this a VX?
no, this is
High 8.
It's a high 8.
Still high 8,
Yeah,
okay.
Mouse was all filmed with high 8.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like maybe 2 clips in Mouse with the VX 1000, and that's it.
So
No.
you're clicking the iris is what you
Exactly.
and figuring
Yeah,
out
you
like
can feel like every stop.
Well,
Like,
you
gotta-
can. It kind of bumps. So like you feel it go like gunk 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 gunk, and so like there's no flip out monitor, you know,
Yeah.
so you can't look down and see like where you're
you're
at.
filming by
F-stop, you know. You just
feel.
You just know.
You just know.
Exactly. You just know. But then so he does the half cab heel, and he's hauling towards that rail. I'm like, oh God, he's gonna do it. And I'm reaching down, and I couldn't feel the iris. I couldn't find it. It was, you know, and I was like, oh my God, I was panicking. And then all of a sudden I got it, and it was like, and it was 8 clicks. I remember it was
wow.
8 clicks to get from the trash can to the handrail, and I know I felt 7, and then if you see right before he hits that rail, it goes up
goes-
one more, and I hit the 8th click. Yeah.
So that was a heavy line too,
I
man.
know.
I mean,
he's
Guy's part.
probably going to pull it. You know, so you got to get that right.
you
Yeah.
know he's
always
gonna
gonna pull it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's come full circle, you know, filming from the front. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks. It just my whole thing was like trying to show skating the best the best way I could. And again, like I loved and respected these guys so much, and I wanted it to be as good, you know, for anybody watching as it is for me sitting right there, you know, and make it make it dynamic, you know. So
I love it because I never even thought about the whole like being surprised by what's coming next. Like I just see the filming from the front, and you see the guy coming at you. And you filmed a line of Daniel Castillo, I think, in the hallway. At some school in Torrance, maybe.
Torrance. Yeah, but I think he had to cruise around and do his nose grind.
I think so, right. But it was fully from the front, and like I was just, I mean, great.
Thanks,
I don't think you filmed anything of me in the front.
No,
maybe.
I don't think so.
No.
Dude, when I got hired in 2008, whatever, to work for Girl, like I made it a point to like try and shoot in front.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Huh.
All the time.
Wow. Well, thanks.
Look at that, huh?
I remember one thing I hadn't seen really before was like trying to shoot like crisscross, basically. So.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like if you're say you're skating like those West High rails and you're doing
flat bars,
those flat bars, and you're gonna do your trick. Like I would try to like time it so as the trick was going like this way, I was whipping past that way. You know,
the Josh Stewart move.
Right.
Does he do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so you would.
I call it. I just call it the crisscross. Yeah.
So if I do 50-50,
It's like two
you're
shifts
coming
at
from
night.
one way, and
Right.
then I pull it, and then you cross,
I
and then
think-
you're filming from the other side.
Well, you just kind of like whip past them really fast.
Yeah.
I think in Cinematographer, if I'm not mistaken, Guy at LA High, he does like a frontside tail slide on those brick inclines.
yeah.
And I tried to crisscross it, you know, that type of thing. Because I always, again, like I
Adds
don't.
more speed to it too.
It just make it more interesting, make it more dynamic, you know, like make it more fun to watch.
Totally.
You know, is simply put. So
What about that one line where he does the nose side to fakie and then the switchback tail and he turns around?
That turnaround?
Yeah, but like when he did that and he did the switch shove at nose side?
at LA High.
Yeah. What was your like when you watched when he did it? Was he just kind of messing around when he did that?
Yes and no. I mean, whenever you're skating with Guy, it's always just fun, you know. So no, he was completely serious, like trying to get that line.
Yeah.
But I remember it was just me, him, and then I had like a friend of mine who I would skate a long time ago back in the days, guy Bert. Like it was the three of us there. I remember he's like, "Okay, Bert, this one's for you, man. I'm gonna do it right now." And like he threw it down and he did it. But the thing about that line is after he did the switch backside tail and then he turned around.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That turnaround is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The one thing I did try to do, if you watch that specific line back, is when he comes into the frame to do the nose slide to come around, like I try to keep the camera as perfectly still on those brick banks as I possibly could. So like the bank is almost like a still object. And he comes in and he slams into it and then comes down because the patterns of the bricks too were doing like this really interesting thing visually. And so I realized if I kept the camera like as still as possible in the exact same spot and didn't try to like do any kind of swerve motion with it just made it look cooler.
Wow.
You know? And so, but the thing I was going to say is when he did that switch backside tail and then turned around, that was the first time he made it. And I didn't know where we were going. I swear. Like
He didn't tell you what the whole line was?
maybe
Follow me.
Basically it was. It was like, oh, here we go. Yeah. What are we gonna do? Yeah.
Right.
And then he did the switch pop shove
Nose side.
nose and then came down and
Yeah.
like that was first try.
like created like history with the turnaround.
With the turnaround, that's what everybody talks about.
Sick.
And the funny thing, like I watched that footage back too, and I like it, but the lens is filthy.
Oh, is it?
If you look at it,
It's a
like
little dirty, yeah.
it's super dirty, but I'm kind of okay with it, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
because that spot's kind of dirty too, you know, so it kind of all
It
works.
adds
yeah.
to the. I like that.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing about that line is that I didn't know where we were
That's
off
funny.
to. We were off to the races. Yeah,
That's
because
fun.
Guy, he's just like, dude, we could just be going down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right.
so
He'll just keep
cool.
going.
He'll just keep going
Right.
with it.
Guy
Yeah.
Mariano.
So like one thing I do want to say about Guy's part being as phenomenal and
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable as it was.
In Mouse.
In Mouse.
Yes.
In Mouse.
You shot it all?
I shot it all. Yeah. Have I told this
That's
story
amazing.
before? Have I
That's
told? Yes,
amazing.
I have. I'm proud of-
Raj is a video. He knows.
proud of
He
that.
knows.
You should
Yeah,
be
you
proud. It's
know.
amazing.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because that's the thing. It's like how many people contribute to videos? How many different filmers do you
Oh,
have?
yeah.
You have like, you know, this guy over here, this guy over there type of thing, right?
Totally.
So, no, like when Guy set out to do his Mouse part, you could tell from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that he was 100% serious about
yeah.
it, you know, because as you know, he didn't have much footage in Goldfish, if anything.
Yeah.
He was completely MIA when we shot Paco.
Yeah.
And then he was back, you know, and I never saw it like, this is a comeback part, you know. I just was like, oh, guy's reinvigorated, you know, like, you know. So I was stoked, and I was like, I was along for the ride, and whatever he wanted to do, I was down to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, all the guys' footage in Mouse is stuff. I shot all of it.
The opening at Adams over the bum.
That was heavy, dude.
That was
Switch big flip back then. I was like, what?
Plus the song, dude.
Yeah.
That watermelon song?
Yeah. So everything about that too. Yeah, the fact that they use it as an opener, the fact that Adams had been, and I'm guilty of it too, just kind of sitting in front of the bump and just shooting, you know, like at the same angle. So yeah, when we were there, and what would happen too is like you'd have 10 guys skating, so you couldn't really do anything different, you know?
Yeah, you're stuck there.
You're just kind of, you got to get everybody, you know? So that's the spot you got to be. Yeah. But no, when he did that trick, it was like me, him, Joey Sorrell, and like a couple of other people. That was the other thing. When Guy was doing his part, it was just like 3-4 people at the most, you know, if it just wasn't me and him, you know, there's hardly that many people.
Did he have
around.
tricks in mind? Like, hey, let's go to Adams and I want to get this, or?
I think he did, but he didn't tell him. Like when he did,
like when I worked with him, we were pretty sweet. He was probably the most professional dude. He'd be like, hey, meet me at, you know, this school at like 10 a.m.
Right.
I'll get there. He'd be like, oh, I got here at 9. I'm ready. Get your camera.
Really?
And he'd get it like within 3-4 tries.
He would just bang it out.
Yeah.
Huh? Wow. He never. If we were skating a spot, I would ask him like what he was gonna maybe do, so I knew where to go, because like so much of his part is lines, you know. But yeah, he wasn't like, yeah, we're gonna go to Adams and I'm gonna do this, you know. Like he would just start doing something, you know. And so for that Adams clip, I just was like, dude, I got to make this place look different. You know, like we've seen this thing a million times.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me go over here and like, oh yeah, like
go on the sidewalk.
I was on the other side. It was like this chain link fence, you know? And so like I saw a bench and I was like, oh, let me sit down here, and like kind of looking through the fence, and I was like, okay, this could be cool. And so like I took the fisheye off, and then I started doing kind of like this pan across the fence, and then rack focusing to Guy, like through this very particular spot, in the fence.
Wow,
because it's not easy at all.
No, well, no,
because it's blurry. It's blurry, and then he comes into frame, and then you focus on him.
Yeah, it's like you're not sure exact, because a chain link fence is a chain link fence. They all look the same. Sure. You're not sure exactly which one it is, and
it's hard to land on that
exact
square.
Square. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm gonna blow this. Yeah, like seriously, that's what I thought. You know, I'm like, I'm gonna fuck this up. You know, the one try before the one he made, I racked the wrong way.
Oh, and he made it.
No. The try before that.
Gotcha.
Because like after each one, I would quickly watch him back in camera to make sure like the move was correct and the focus was on point. And so yeah, he did it, and I'm like, that's not right. And I looked, you know, I was like, holy shit, like I gotta rack the other way. Like, what are you doing? Right. You know, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. You know? But then the next one, like just right across, like you just kind of feel it. I felt like the right distance. I hit it. I racked. He made it.
Wow.
He rolled away. I was like, whew,
history is made. Yeah.
Well, it was cool, and I was like, I just felt like, okay, this is a nice moment. Like, who knew it was going to be like his opening clip, right? Yeah.
Totally. You're filming a clip.
I was filming a clip, trying to make it look different again, you know, and it all worked out.
When you were filming that part, were people aware that he was like just going to come out with a part like that, or did people get so? Because I wasn't at any premiere back in the day.
Right,
I just started skating. Were they like? After Eric's part came out with it, it's like, holy shit, Guy Mariano. Or
it's like, it's hard to answer, or it's hard to know because of being in the middle of it all. Yeah. You know, but I don't think there was a lot of hype. I don't think people knew that Guy had a full part. Like, I don't think people knew that, okay, this is going to be his next big part since Video Days. I don't think it was understood with, you know, everybody that was a part of making the video. Yeah. Like we knew what he was doing, and like even those who weren't a part of it would ask me, like, because we would go skate and we would get clips, and then we would meet up with everybody else, and Eric would be like, "What do you get?" You know, I'm serious, and I was like, "Oh, you did this," you know, because like how you would come to my house and watch footage, like those days were done. We didn't do that anymore, and we also. you know, it was funny. It was amazing to talk about that, like seeing like a tape at Girl, and like when he was cutting FTC, and they would watch this tape, and it was like all the raw footage of the stuff that we shot. I thought I remember him telling a story about that.
Maybe I wasn't really listening to Mesa.
But we did when we were filming for Mouse. I would make this master VHS tape where people could then come in and see what everybody else was getting.
Okay.
So like all the raw,
tape.
so all the raw stuff was safe.
Yeah.
You know, and so after a certain point, though, I think we kind of stopped putting guys' stuff on there because even like within the crew, like he wanted it to be a surprise and like that kind of thing.
Okay.
So did people know like? Yes and no. You know, like they heard, like he went out, but like when he did switch backside tail, beneficial and to shove out, like it was me, him, and Mike York. That's it. You know, like on a Saturday morning, and he's like, "Let's go to Benny. I got a chick at beneficial." I'm like, "Okay, great." You know, and like it was insane. You know.
So now you guys finish up Girl. I mean, you guys finish up Mouse.
Yeah. Right.
And what was the thinking there? Because after Mouse, you went on to do, was it Listen?
No, well,
you did
Cinematographer came after Mouse.
Okay, but that was a Transworld thing.
That was
just like
all
the bunch of cinematographers had their part
Correct.
in it, and they picked the skaters they wanted in it.
Yeah, to go back a little bit. Yeah. I mean, we did Goldfish, and Goldfish came out, and that was a funny project in the sense that like I didn't even know it was done. Like I didn't even know it was released. Like I showed up at Sam's house, I showed up at headquarters, and there's a copy of it there. I was like, whoa,
no
it's
way.
done. Like, yeah, like Tim or somebody brought it over.
Okay.
You know, so there wasn't like a premiere. There wasn't like any kind of big release about it at all. I didn't even know. Yeah, they just put it out. It was done. It was out. And then we went immediately into Paco because at that time, Chico was around, Shamil was around, Ben was around, Daniel. Yeah, so they created Chocolate basically a year after Girl was around, which is right around the time we finished Goldfish.
Okay.
Chocolate starts.
Yeah.
And so, boom, we just jump right into that. And from the very beginning of that video to the very end of that video, Gabriel was just on fire. Hitting me up all the time. Let's go get stuff. Let's go get stuff. Let's go get stuff.
Wow.
And I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? It shows because he has the last part in that video. Exactly. And he killed it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I remember him doing lines at the courthouse, tail sliding over on the big side of the stage, tail sliding over they had a little forced air made of wood.
Yeah. I think he just switched backside 180 over a trash can on the side first.
I think so.
Yeah. And then he cruises around and tail slides over.
But I mean, like, talk about style.
Yeah.
And just like,
sick.
my God.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Gabriel Rodriguez.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to be a part of that. And then again, because my whole style, I like to say too, with filming is like, I feel like I'm a little bit more of like the documentarian style. It's like, you know, I'm gonna be there, and like if you want to go film, like look, let's go do this. But like I'm not the guy that's gonna like find the spot for you or like you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna
fly on the wall
push.
style.
Yeah, I'm not gonna push like as hard as I know maybe other people do. Like I'm more laid back.
Yes.
You know, and so like when people are doing things and they're skating, like I just try to document it as best I could, you know? And so like Gabriel just like took the bull by the horns with that project, you know, and just was off and running, like I said. So it was kind of nice to be able to like, in a way, like sit back and like let him go and then document him going, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So, because a lot of those videos, I think those early videos are aesthetically more along those lines. Like I don't know if they're as like produced feel. Do you know what I'm saying? But they have more of like a docu style to them. And
totally.
And that's kind of like how I would film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Paco, Mouse, and then Cinematographer.
Yeah.
And then what happened with Girl though? Did you do the Cinematographer project and be like, oh, maybe I can go do Listen, or
no?
did you?
So
you got fired from Girl, right?
I did. Yeah.
Oh.
See, yeah. How'd you know that? You know things.
I know things.
This is Roger Bagley.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah. So, and this is a good thing to like to get into for a minute, because it for me it was a serious like kind of like life lesson to learn, and a career lesson to learn as well. So like filming Goldfish, filming Paco, filming Mouse, like it became a job. it became difficult, and it became stressful, and it became, for me, I became self-absorbed with it, meaning that I felt like I had more ownership or more, like I felt like, oh, this is all my footage. Like, this is my project.
You started pressuring dudes and...
Well, I didn't pressure dudes, but like I felt, let me go about, so I know I read something Mark Johnson wrote about in terms of like a skate company being related to people building a house.
Yeah.
And like the people who build that house don't have anything to do with the finished product, but they help build that house.
There you go.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
great analogy, because that's how I felt. Like, and I felt like, and it was completely in my own head.
Yeah.
Like I was completely wrong, but I felt like I wasn't kind of getting my due, or like I felt like I built this thing, through the video production side of it. And I felt as much work as I put into it, I was getting just sidelined with things. Yeah. And I was completely wrong.
Okay.
So what happened was I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to get my due other ways. And so one day I went into Girl and I packed a box and I put a bunch of stuff in there, and then I filled out my form. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a few more shirts, and I'm going to take a couple more boards. I'm going to put a couple more wheels because I don't care, and it was just like this.
I'm going to LA skate.
Well, it was just like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Okay.
But that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I packed up my box and I put it against the wall.
Okay.
Like I didn't like take it to my car. You know what I mean? Like I literally just put it against the wall. And I think somebody opened it up and was like, well, whose box is this?
Oh.
And then they went through everything and then they compared it with what I wrote on this piece of paper, and it obviously didn't match up.
Oh.
And so then like I get a call later on that day saying like, we need to talk about things like you're stealing stuff from the warehouse.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah. You're right. I did that stuff, and it's like hard for me to admit and like talk about even because it's super embarrassing and ridiculous. But that was my mindset at the time. Like I felt for some reason that I wasn't as important to these projects as I felt like I was.
Right.
And so I was going to get my due another way,
Okay.
Ridiculous. And so that was probably, I'd say, Mouse was 80% finished at that point. And so I sat down with Rick and he's like, look, let's just finish the project. We're so far into it, like he's obviously not happy with me.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's just get this thing done. So we get Mouse done, and then we have the premiere, and everything's cool. And I go into Girl like the next week or something, and I sit down at his desk, and he just kind of looks at me like I got nothing for you, So like it never came out. He's like, you're fired. You're out of here. It was nothing, everything like that. But it was totally understood that
Project's done.
my time there is done.
Okay.
Yeah, my time there is finished.
Right.
And so like I walked out just feeling super dejected and just like I blew it. I totally blew it. Right.
But at the same time, though, they didn't really have another project going on as well, right? That
No.
Mouse, what was after Mouse? They didn't really do anything for
I don't know what was
years.
after Mouse.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was years later.
There's a chocolate video after Mouse. Which one was
Chocolate Tour.
Chocolate Tour.
Chocolate Tour.
Yeah.
Not the hot chocolate tour, but the regular chocolate tour.
Yes, we know.
Is that the one? That's the one with Stevie?
Yes.
Sorry.
Stevie Williams.
So that was the next project after Mouse.
Chocolate Tour came out in '99.
It wasn't that, because like when we started shooting Paco after Goldfish.
2 years, you're right.
2 years.
2 years,
Okay.
yeah. When we started shooting Paco after Gold, we didn't have another project, but we just started in on
Started it,
something.
right.
We started, I think if it didn't go that way, we probably would have taken a break and then figured something out and then continued on to something else.
Okay.
But because of being such an idiot and pulling this ridiculous move, like I was done, So yeah, you're right. Like I got let go, fired. Exactly.
Not to throw anybody else
Yeah.
under the bus, but I mean, I wonder if other people too, like skaters and stuff,
Right.
would take a couple extra boards or
Well-
this or that. You know what I mean? Like it was, young
Yeah.
kids. It's not like
Yeah, not to justify that I
No,
was in
I'm
the
not-
right whatsoever, but sure, I would see that at World. I would see that at the skate
Yeah.
park. Like we all know the famous stories of the product closet at the World Park.
for sure. For sure.
And so, but again, it was, probably people did, but my intentions, I think, were more malicious.
Okay.
It was like I was angry,
Right.
and I felt like disrespected on some level.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just did.
Right.
I think I was burnt out. I was just burnt out for going strong. And again, you have to remember it was just be the filmer. I was responsible for 2 teams. I mean, I could justify it all day long, but I was just burnt, you know? And so that happened, and that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah. And
did you know what you were going to do?
No, I had no clue. I had absolutely no clue.
Look for another job?
I mean,
did you want to keep filming for other companies? I mean,
I wanted to obviously keep filming because that was literally the only thing I'd ever done. I mean, I had a paper route growing up, and like
route.
that was it.
Ever break any windows? No,
we're not going to talk about that here.
Okay. They're still looking for him.
That's how I knew Arnold Schwarzenegger lived around the corner, because he was on my paper route.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a paper boys.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, of course I wanted to continue filming, but it was one of these things where it was a really kind of, it was a harsh reality check, wake up call, because this was the company I had worked for, and I had done these projects with these people, and now I was out.
For how many years?
That was 4
years.
4 years straight. Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
3 videos.
2,
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 3. I mean, and then we did a bunch of small projects in the middle of those. Like we did this thing called the Matinee in between Paco,
trade show,
a trade show project. So it's like we just constantly did project after project after project. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do, you know. What did end up happening was I got called by Atiba to do the Cinematographer project, which wasn't that much longer after I got let go from Girl. And so, of course, I was like, I'll hop on that right away. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
how long did
lucky for you.
I know. I loved my footage in that video, man.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, I don't really skate flat bars or anything, but I
Right.
had the flat bar line and the line at the graffiti pits.
Yeah.
And
You did like
liked
nose
it.
kind of shoving on a flat bar, right?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thank you, bro.
They stuck that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, that was another thing. I remember shooting that line at the graffiti pit, because you come around from that wall. So I knew I was going to reveal you.
Yeah.
Like I knew like that was going to be your first clip in that project. I'm like, this is where Chris is going to come from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that was their first clip in any video, right? Or I guess Welcome to Hell.
Welcome to Hell was my debut.
Right.
Which you filmed because
which
you
I
literally lived a block away from that ledge. And we would be hanging out at your house and we would go and film.
Yeah.
We'd go skate that ledge.
Yeah, right. But not to get too serious about that, but I do want to button that up, just understanding that was just like a ridiculous, stupid thing to do. And I don't know, like so you obviously heard I got let go. Like I don't know if that, I've never really talked about that story before. Like I've never really kind of delved into the details. I mean, maybe you heard, everything. Maybe you heard about that. Yeah. So that's what happened. Okay. And if there's anything like, I try to learn from all of my mistakes. Sure. And so trust me, I took away a lot from that experience. Yeah. But yeah, it was just a stupid young mindset to be in. Yeah.
We all do stupid stuff.
We do,
man, especially Kelly.
We're still pretty young.
But
too.
listen, you get humbled up pretty quickly
absolutely.
in certain situations too. You know?
Absolutely. So, but then I guess it was funny too, because I remember thinking, well, I guess the waves aren't that severe because Atiba's calling me to do a
sure.
Yeah, like I honestly thought there was just going to be like this backlash through the industry, like I was just not going to be able to film anymore.
Yeah.
I really did think that.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was really worried about because it was
small
a career.
industry,
dude, super small, and you piss off those guys. Like,
oh my God,
give me a break.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like,
but at the same time, though, those dudes are really cool. You know what I mean? I don't think they go around slandering your name because of one.
Sure. So yeah, no, I got this call from Atiba. I would probably say within a couple months of getting let go from Girl.
And then how long did you work on that? Because you had to edit that.
I had to cut that
because you weren't editing before that.
I'm not an editor.
No.
I am not technically inclined when it comes to that stuff.
They didn't do it? Transworld did?
Well, this is what happened. So yeah, like once I was pretty much done shooting that, I would go down to San Diego and sit with, I think it was Ted Newsom.
Probably.
Yeah, Ted and we would cut it. Yeah, we would cut for like 14 hours. And I'd go home.
Wow.
And I'd come back like the next weekend. And I did that for like a month until my part of the project was finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember Ray and Trevor just sent his footage and they cut it together for him.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh. Where was he?
Boston.
Oh, well, that's probably why. Yeah. No, I had the ability to get down there.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And did you get a lot of good response from the cinematographer
I did.
video? Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
And that probably was like, oh, maybe I can do something by myself now because I've already kind of.
That's a great point. I didn't think. Yeah,
No?
you're probably right. I don't. It's funny, man. It's like how everything happened in my career. It was. What I've learned is the more you try to plan, the more you try to control, the more you try to say, I want this to happen.
The more it backfires on you.
It doesn't happen.
I
It
know.
doesn't work out,
Right.
And so, like I was saying earlier, like, this is how it all just kind of came to be. So maybe
In the back of your mind.
maybe somewhere it was in there, but I wasn't consciously thinking like,
No.
I could go off and do this by myself.
Okay.
No.
But so how did Listen come around then?
It's funny. So throughout my filming for Girl and all this stuff, like I was also going to film school. Like I would take film classes at night and I also wanted to sharpen up my narrative skills for whatever reason. And I met a group of guys who I still stay in touch with today who started doing these CD-ROM projects. Now, CD-ROM was like this, you're going to explain it better than me. Jump in here.
No,
It's like interactive stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like you would do a project and you pop it into your computer. And
this small little disc.
it was like on a CD or a DVD.
But you
size
could
thing.
like choose different things. It was like interactive where you could like.
It was like the internet.
It was
way.
it was kind of pre-internet, and it was
Yeah.
like using computers, I think, for educational purposes. And so, like, you could learn about this subject and learn about that
Yeah.
subject.
Right.
And so, one of the guys in my film school crew, was I was in the skate world, he was in the snowboard world, and so he hooked up with this company, he started making this snowboard CD-ROM, and I kind of helped him for a little bit, and he was like pitched the same idea to the company, but for skating. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting because, again, all along, even though I loved shooting skating and I was super hyped doing it as I was doing it all those years, a thought I did have in the back of my head was like, I know I'm not going to do this forever.
Right.
And so there's going to be a point in time where I need to figure out how I'm going to transition into something else.
Sure.
And that kind of was the beginning break of that, meeting the film school guys, working for the CD-ROM project. And so I was like, okay, I can work for this larger kind of corporation, but shoot something that I'm very familiar with and kind of bridge the two together. So I'm working for people not in the skate world and establishing connections that way, but shooting things that I know how to shoot.
Also a scary thing though too.
But exciting.
Sure.
I've always looked at those. If it scares the shit out of you, then go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, go for it because you will survive. You will get through it, and you will be in a better place because you did so.
And if you don't, you learn something.
Sure.
You do. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Seriously, what's
Yeah.
the worst that's going to happen? So
Like this show. Oh, seriously. Yeah.
And the thing too, it's like, I think without realizing it is that I was shooting, Guy and Eric and Rick and Mike and da 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 da. And then I kind of started looking around and being like, man, there's a lot of like untapped talent in Santa Monica and all these other places. And I started kind of gravitating towards shooting with them.
Yeah.
Because it was a good fit. I knew I had a reputation. I had done these projects and it was like, okay, this will work, So let me shoot with these kids. These kids are hungry. They want to film, right?
Totally.
So I started employing, going down those avenues with the CD-ROM project, and then I got, I think, 3 months into working on it, and that company folded, and so I had a solid base of stuff that wasn't like it just was footage.
But that left the door wide open for you though.
Well, it did. I was already invested in doing something,
Sure.
and I had a kind of a base, a foundation of footage. And so I remember just driving down the freeway and thinking like, man, like I loved Rubbish Heap where it was all skate sounds, and I'm a huge fan of Eastern Exposure, Ricky Oyola, like with the Lav on, like, oh, there's Street Sleepers coming, like I started thinking about all of these old projects. I was like, let's do it. I'm going to do a project of my own. I'm going to call it Listen, and I'm going to put it out.
With no music.
And how to deal with music rights.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
That too.
Again, yeah. Of course, I figured that. Yeah, that was the plan all along.
Right.
So 20 years later, I wouldn't have any like legal rights to deal with. Yeah.
And at the time, you weren't thinking of like who's going to distribute it, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. You thought maybe if I could put a video together,
Right.
I'll figure it out later.
Exactly. I started shooting there was a couple of people, like Robbie was in the mix from a very early part.
Robbie McKinley.
Yeah. And so there was a couple, like Chris Swanson, you know, he had a bunch of, like there was a couple of people
Trying to
like
drop in off the fucking roof of the courthouse.
You filmed that? That's insane.
Actually, I didn't film that. Somebody gave me that. I heard about that, and I don't know where it came from.
You're like, I got to put this in there.
But yeah, like he wanted it. He's like,
Oh, he
dude,
did?
you got to
Okay.
get this. Yeah, I mean, you do that. You got to
Yeah,
get
it's
it out
true.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
come on.
I know.
Seriously.
Got buckled.
Yeah,
That
it
and
was.
Daniel Haney's
Well,
Falls.
and Haney had a lot of footage, and he was in the Cinematographer project too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like Haney and again Robbie McKinley and Swanson, and there was like a couple of other like locals that were just around, and we were filming and stuff, and so I was like, yeah, I could kind of, and then I needed to find somebody to open the video up and get a lot of footage. You know, I needed to find some other people that could thread the piece.
Of course.
Yeah, who had more footage than others, because it was definitely like, I don't want to say a long montage, but it was there were certain, you know, you had a lot of footage and then it would dip down, and then somebody else had a lot of footage and it would dip down. That was kind of the ebb and the flow of the project.
Yeah.
And then it obviously ended with Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just was like, okay, let me see how this goes. And
Sure.
off to the races.
Yeah.
There we go.
How long did you work on Listen for?
At that point, well, so then I started shooting for probably another 3 or 4 months, and I accumulated a bunch more stuff.
Okay.
And you were in the mix at that point
Yeah.
too. And I started thinking about distribution. How am I going to get this out there? Because again, pre-internet, you know, I didn't have any connections. How am I going to do duplication? How am I going to get this into shops? Am I going to cold call people? Like, I need to go to one place and have them do it all for me.
Sure,
you know?
absolutely.
And there was one distribution company that I thought back then was a one-stop shop, and it was Giant.
Yeah.
You know, literally, because they just had it everywhere.
Totally.
They're crushing it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I put together kind of like a little teaser montage of all the footage, and I don't even know how I hit them up, but I got in touch with Steve Douglas and I told him what I was doing, and he told me to come down with what I had, and I sat down with him and Dan Wolf and we watched it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was really intimidated. You know, I never met Dan Wolf
Did they
before.
ask where the music was? The fuck is the music, Tim?
They didn't ask about that, but they were like, it's a good start. And I was thinking like, dude, I'm like over halfway through this thing, and they think it's a good start.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was like a humbling. I don't know what the right word is, but I was like, it put me in check. Like the video, what I had in my mind wasn't even close to the video I had yet. But I thought I was further down the road than I was. But they're like, no. If we're gonna be a part of this, then yeah, like not go back to the drawing board, but you gotta
Add
Keep
to
going.
it.
yeah, you got to keep going, but you got to go a lot longer than I was thinking I had to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but it was, you know, it was a good experience, and but they were enthusiastic because I told them the idea and like this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to be like, and their other thing too was like, well, it's got to have certain names and, you know, sellable content, you know, that type of thing. So.
You're like, I got Chris Roberts.
Yeah, I got Chris.
They're like, who the fuck
Who
is
the
that?
fuck is Chris? Yeah, just I was like, trust me. Like these guys,
I
they're
can spot
gonna kill
talent
it.
a mile away.
They're gonna kill it. I got this.
Wait, so Chris, you were getting flowed during that point from Chocolate when
Or
you were
Blind.
filming this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You're chocolate or blind?
Because you
No,
writing
this was
Chocolate
before.
board.
This was after Blind, because I was getting flowed by Chocolate. I was writing like Gabriel Rodriguez boards and stuff at
okay.
the graffiti pits.
Right.
And, like the opening line.
Yeah.
Nolly Knows Blunt, you could totally see.
Right. Oh,
That's
the
not
Gabriel
opening
board.
line,
That's
though.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. The graphic. Yeah.
That's, Nolly Knows One is an opening line.
That was after I turned Rodney down for a second.
Which is hilarious because I
didn't turn him
that.
down. I just didn't like. I don't think I even responded to the guy.
That
No, but
says
you
a
wanted to
lot,
see
though.
another-
That
you wanted
says
to
a
s-
lot though. Like, you know, yeah, no, I'm good.
You could have just waited for Listen to come out.
Yeah,
You would have been stoked.
But here's the thing, though, Kelly, and you know what I'm talking about. Is you have this favorite company, which is Blind
Yeah.
and World and 101, and you want to go, and then all your favorite guys move over to girl and chocolate, and now you're like, okay, I have my eye on this now.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to follow.
You probably could have skated for multiple different companies,
Robbie,
but you weren't gonna. You just that's what you wanted. You wanted chocolate.
Yeah, and Robbie skated for Blind before girl.
Yeah,
he was on Blind.
I remember.
So I was kind of like, I was getting flowed. We were at the same.
Yeah.
Robbie and I were kind of on the same steps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like listen video.
Right.
He got on Blind from that. I believe. Yeah. Or he maybe was on Blind.
He was on
while he was filming.
He was on Blind, yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember like going to World after Listen came out and hanging out with Rodney, and then they wanted me to work for World after Listen. Yeah. And then a week later, Robbie was on Girl.
See?
Something like that. Like a short time afterwards. Yeah.
And then so I just wanted to go to, chocolate or whatever. I had my eye on the prize.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember.
You helped make this guy his career, dude.
Dude, he did it.
He launched it.
But that's just it. Like, yes, I did. I'll take credit for it.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
But it's the same thing. It's like I felt like if I wasn't the one documenting Chris, somebody else would have.
Sure.
Not so like
Yeah,
it
be
just,
me.
It
Could have been.
could have been Raj.
Could have been Raj. Look what. Could have been you, Raj. Huh?
But that's just it. Chris had it. There's just certain people, man. Like like Robbie had it. You had it. It's like. You look at certain people, like Alex Olsen as a young kid, like, yeah, that kid's got it. Yeah, it's
seriously.
like you see it, and to me, it's like so much of skating is style, and it's like, and that dictate anybody can learn the trick, and to a certain extent,
Sure,
more or less, right? But if you've got that style, man, that's what's going to carry you through. And like I know Chris had that style, Robbie had that style. It's like they had that style.
And we were kind of, me and Robbie, I don't know, we were almost like the new generation of like the courthouse and the whole West Side graffiti pits.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. I kind of look at it as like independent film versus like mainstream movies. Like I kind of was like, I've been shooting mainstream for a while, which is phenomenal.
Sure.
But now I'm in the world of independent, and you guys represented that independent world like very well.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of saw it. And that's, funnily enough, Listen is now categorized as an independent project. It very much is. So,
right.
So that was the direction I thought to go with it.
You're welcome.
You're
welcome.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, and then so Giant.
So then I left that meeting going like, damn it, like I got a lot more work to do, but at the same time, it gave it like framework. It's like before it was like this hot, I have a lot of footage, what am I going to do with this? And then I met with Steve and Dan Wolf, and they're like, okay, good. Like now go do it.
Okay.
So it really shaped the project. And that's probably when the reality of shooting Listen started.
Oh.
Even though I'd been filming for a good 6-8 months or whatever.
Now you got their blessing almost. Like we'll do this, but go to work now.
Yeah, now it makes sense. Now we know what it is. And I knew what it was too. Yeah. And so then it was just nonstop after that. Until she's probably another 8-9 months, which is crazy because like that sounds like a long time, but I mean, videos take years. It's like years and years and years and years, and so like, well, we just whipped this together in 8-9 months.
Seriously,
it's
like, unless you're primitive and do it in 3 trips.
Right.
Yeah, or you're Miles Silva and you can go down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning and like, see, don't get me on that. I'd love to shoot that.
So when you after the 8 or 9 months, you bring it back down to Giant.
No, I cut it. So like that group of film student friends that I had, who with the CD-ROM project, they had bought a Media 100 editing system, one of the first non-linear editing systems, right? So I didn't know what that was, but they had it. And I was like, okay, I need to cut this video together now. So I call them up and I tell them what I've been doing. And they're like, yeah, let's, it was just so loose and free. They didn't have really, really much going on at that point. And so I slid in and I started cutting the thing together.
So the video comes out. It was a huge success. It was huge.
Well, it's funny. So in order for me to make a profit, I had to sell 2,500 videos. So that
doesn't seem like a lot to me.
No, I mean, for me to pay back advertising costs, for me to pay the guys that I cut it at, I did like some guy did like artwork for me, you know, for Transworld, you know, so I kind of did the numbers probably to pay Sam back for all the meals he bought me. I had to sell 2,500 videos, and like that would break everything even. So 2,501, I'd start making a profit.
But you knew you could do that.
I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know, but I knew Giant had the tentacles out there.
Yeah. On average, like I think 401 was doing like 20 to 40,000 videos like every issue. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I didn't think of it like that. I was, you know, because when you don't know, you don't know, you know, and so I talked to Steve Douglas. So it's funny. I went down there, finished the project, handed it off, and then like a week later, I had to have like this sales pitch meeting with their team, you know, because there's a bunch of people selling this video. They don't know what this is.
You got to explain to them.
I gotta tell them. So there's like, you know, I got to go down there and sell the thing, you know?
Sure. So you brought your laser pointer and your...
I should have. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Got a bunch of kids you've never heard of.
My big Jumbotron. Yeah. Like, here, check this out.
Right.
I don't know how much longer after that, but I get a call from Steve Douglas, and he says, your videos, let's just say it's going to come out in 2 weeks, and we're now doing pre-orders. You've pre-ordered 5,000.
Wow.
I was like, whoa.
So you made money.
Double the amount that
without it being out yet.
Yeah.
Like the pre-orders, without it actually being physically in the shop, had already sold.
Around that time too, though, like
I couldn't believe
skate videos were selling really well.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's funny though, because like I never knew like how many units Goldfish did or how many units Paco did. You know, and I just wasn't privy to that business side of things. So yeah, you're right. They were. I mean, I saw it later, but I didn't know at the time that it was they were that popular, you know.
5,000 copies.
5,000 copies.
You're stoked. You're like, I already paid back everybody, and I'm actually making some money. I'm
gonna make a profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes out, and do you remember this? Because you were over when I got the call from Steve Douglas.
I was at your house.
Yeah, you're at my house.
I don't know.
You don't remember this?
No.
So, dude, we're sitting there, and Steve Douglas calls, and he's like, "Look, your video just came out, and it's selling really well. And we don't want these numbers to get out, because if people hear like the units that it's doing, then we're going to get bombarded with independent projects." And like this was, you know, because of the projects you had done for Girl and then Transworld, like you had
a name for yourself,
a name and a reputation. So we took this one on, but this isn't what we want to do. And if people find out, then this is just a lot of stuff we don't want to do.
Oh yeah, Raj would be calling him fucking the next day.
Trying to sell eye candy.
What's that?
That was like a little video I made, and she had like 5 copies to get to my friends.
Oh, you did? Like a little homie video?
It's an antique.
Was that DVD or VHS?
VHS.
That was VHS. There you go. See,
straight from iMovie to
really?
DV and DV to
there you go.
VHS.
Okay, you didn't want the number getting out.
He didn't want it getting out, but so he's like you're gonna get a check for $27,000, and I couldn't believe it. I put my head.
I'm rich.
It's just like from being broke for like probably 6 months, and then putting, you know, it was probably, now I really think about it, this culmination of this wave from like being let go from Girl and not knowing what I'm going to do, and then having a little success with Cinematographer, and then going through this CD-ROM project, and that folded, and then saying, okay, I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to do it all on my own. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, like that's why I set it out. That wasn't the reason why I set out to do the project, but it was like this validation that it resonated with people, and people were excited about it, and they were hyped on it, and I was able to like go eat, you know, like I was like, and I couldn't believe it. It felt like I'd won the lottery, you know, and that was that was like the first batch of sales. Wow. You know,
I think I do remember that. I think you actually made me buy the pizza that night.
I took everybody to California Chicken Cafe. I remember I was like, let's go eat
barbecue chicken.
That's a huge,
dude,
you know,
it was, for me, it was gigantic. It was huge. Yeah. So, and that was the first run. And so I think all said, there was like, I think it was like 30,000 copies or something. Like, I have to go back and do the numbers, but yeah, I mean, every copy, I mean, I have 2 here, but I mean, they sold every single one.
Well, I'll sign that after the show.
Yeah. With a black Sharpie. So,
No, but amazing video,
Thank
great
you.
video. I always, to this day,
Right.
I still get people telling me about that video.
Kelly brings it up every day.
Every day.
I watch it a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's kind of hard to find online.
We were talking earlier, and you
Yeah.
said that you're in the process now of trying to re-release it.
Yeah.
Maybe on a platform or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it out there for digital download.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna put it back out the way I made it 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm just
sick.
gonna re-release the thing. You know, it's like
I love it.
It's funny too because like I used all my footage. Yeah, like, I
Everything.
used it. It's like I'm not sitting on an unmade trip. You know what I mean?
Like behind the scenes
dude,
stuff.
like
or-
I put it. Well, that's what I did. If you remember at the end of Robbie's part, then it kind of goes into this montage. You know,
those
like
homeless people. And
yeah,
fucking,
all
like-
that. Donnie like pushing
yeah.
a kid into the water, kind of like he's skating through the courthouse, and a kid gets out of his way and goes through this puddle.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier, Daniel Haney's Falls, dude.
Dude, I mean, that's the whole slam. That's his
whole-
this
yeah,
is the
it's
slam
so hard.
section. Yeah,
That was me and my
I
friends.
put them all in there.
That
Yeah.
was he like slams off the bench and hits his head on the
his head.
rail.
Oh, and you could hear it. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was on Thanksgiving Day because you couldn't skate that. I don't know where that rail. He found this
God,
rail. He's like,
of
"Dude, we
course he
can
did.
only skate this thing on a holiday," and so we went there on Thanksgiving, and that's what happened. Yeah, I was like, "Oh,
Jeez.
goodness."
Someone just recently did the Paul Revere rail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, the one that
Oh, yeah.
in the back.
I thought there were
That kinky?
bars.
You're talking over into the
Yeah,
bank?
yeah.
No, there's another one on the side.
Oh.
A kink trail that he did.
Speaking of rails,
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking back then. But you and me,
What did we do?
we went to the World Savings Rail
Okay. Yeah.
and the big fat silver
Yeah.
one that guy nose slid, Rick
Yeah.
Howard front boarded or
Yeah.
whatever.
50-50
I tried to
again.
switch front side nose slide.
Oh, that's right. Remember? Yeah.
And
Did you
literally-
roll your ankle? Like, did you get- yeah.
So I was getting on it.
Yeah.
I had switched front side nose slides down.
How far do you get down this thing?
Yeah, that's what I want
Bro,
to hear.
to like the
I was-
second step down.
you got pretty far down.
Dude, I
Right, for
slid
sure,
the
give you
whole
credit.
goddamn thing.
Okay.
And no, I remember because like right after I
forgot about that.
I bailed,
Yeah.
you know, and then my foot,
Yeah,
my
you rolled
ankle rolled on the stair.
Yeah.
And right after that happened, the security guard came out.
Okay.
And I was super pissed, you know, like why couldn't he come out
Right.
like a second earlier
Right,
or
right.
whatever?
Yeah.
And then right when my ankle got better, they had taken the rail out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Remember?
Really?
So
Hey, be honest, that's even crazy you even tried that.
that's what I'm saying. Like for some reason, that rail was so thick
Yeah.
that I looked at it as like a ledge.
There's a ledge going down the stairs.
You know,
Right,
and
right,
the
right,
steps were longer too.
Yeah,
they were
absolutely.
long steps, so the whole risk factor didn't really seem to.
I forgot that you almost did that.
Hey, that's pretty amazing you tried that, dude.
Yeah.
That was, it's
Not a
like
lot-
kind of out of your comfort zone, I would say.
I
Absolutely.
never was a
Yeah.
rail skater or
Right.
anything, but
Right,
for some
right.
reason I wanted to go try that.
That's
You
crazy.
know, yeah.
Wow.
Switch
Yeah.
front side,
No,
side.
I don't think because you're like that rail. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We never skated a rail.
No, I know. That's the thing. Well, now, after the skateboarding thing, right? After
Right.
Listen and all that
Right.
stuff.
After he made all that money with Listen.
Yeah. I always describe skateboarding as this bubble.
The bubble.
Right? The bubble.
Yeah, the bubble.
Right? And the
Right.
bubble
Sure. Absolutely.
is hard. A lot of people try to break out of this bubble.
Right.
Right.
Right,
And a
right.
lot of people, it's hard to break that bubble.
Right.
You know?
As
you know,
filmers.
right? It's
Tough, yeah.
Yeah.
it's tough, you know.
right. You still
for
know-
filmers, skaters, I mean everybody in the industry, right?
Right.
You
Sure,
know, you slowly started breaking through the bubble, right?
Yeah.
You started working for Captain Casey's show,
Exactly.
right?
Which is still in the bubble.
Still in the
Well,
bubble.
it is
It's
still-
skateboarding.
It's interesting. It goes back to kind of like that experience I had with the CD-ROM company that eventually turned into Listen. So then once Listen was done, I was like, okay, this is a good time for me to try and go in a different direction. Because I had a little bit of money. I had, you know, I felt like, and this is the other funny thing with skate videos, and I think we can all relate to this, is that once you climb that mountain and you see that thing cut together, you're like, I don't know if I can climb that mountain again. You know? And then
Unless you're Ty Evans.
well, yeah, and more power to him for doing it over and over and over again. Because well, what happens is like a little bit of time passes, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. You know, or maybe I could do it again.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not doing it again.
No, you
Yeah,
were done.
I was done. I was done. It just felt again. Like, organically, naturally, it just felt like it was time to go in a different direction. And if I didn't then I don't know when I would. And so I kind of went back to that group of film school guys who I cut the video at their house. They were just getting really involved with music videos and short films and that type of stuff. And so I just tacked on to their projects, and I helped shoot short form projects for them. And like after Cinematographer, Red Foo hit me up. He's like, I need a commercial. I'm like, I'll do it. And so like I directed a commercial for him, you know?
There you go.
And so I was slowly kind of learning how to, I guess, break outside of that bubble. And once again, you try to control, and it doesn't work out that way. I get a call from my friend Matt Solomon, and he's like, hey, we sold this pilot to a network called Fuel TV. It's a skateboarding talk show, you know, with Chris Casey and Jeff Carlson, Captain and Casey.
Yep.
You want to come on board and do it? And I was like, yeah, sick, great. Well, what happened was they did a first season of it, and they had to use like a Fuel TV staff DP.
Oh.
And so I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
But then he hit me up again, like after that first season, because that first season did really well. And he just, I don't know if something was up with this guy where maybe he was done with his contract or something, but he wanted me to come in. And so I was like, absolutely. So yeah, I jumped on board and we were off and running on Captain and Casey.
And you did how many seasons with that? That was
I did the entirety of the run was 6.
Okay.
No, is that right? 7? No, 7 seasons total. I did 6.
Okay.
Because I remember like we did 13 episodes every season. 7 times 13.
We've done more episodes.
But yeah, you have. Dude, so many shows don't get to 100.
It's crazy.
It is. It's seriously,
Yeah.
it's like, it's insane. It's amazing. Really, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trip out on it.
You should. I don't know how you got to 100.
I don't know either, man.
I'm
scratching my head every day.
But I remember we were bummed because when we didn't get renewed for season 8, because 13 times 7 is 91. We were gonna break 100 episode with the next season, and we didn't get renewed.
Damn.
Yeah, we're like, man. But you know, there's that show is also, I think it
ran its course.
it ran its course.
Okay.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I did.
But Fuel also went the whole like MMA route.
They did. So, I mean, it was out of our hands. Yeah, we didn't get dropped because nobody was watching it. They basically just completely restructured their programming, and they went like 95% MMA, and they kept like a surf show and a motocross show. They kept like 3 shows outside of that bracket, and anything else was just was gone.
Crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I jumped on that, and dude, it was a blast.
Oh, those guys are great.
Yeah,
those guys are great. The whole crew. Got the behind the scenes guys too, and everything. Matt Solomon.
Yeah, Matt's great. Chris, I mean, the whole crew, like Lenny and Tim Bruns. I mean, the guys that would come in to like help shoot and like build the sets and just do it all. It was like a joke that we got.
Tim was a good skater.
Paid.
Tim Bruns?
Oh,
great
Bruns.
skater.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
skater. And then you went on after that. You were
Built to Shred.
Built to Shred.
Built to Shred.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to answer your question.
No, you're good. No, that's.
I don't think he was going to come out. He's like, "What's that show?"
I know. I was actually in my head. I was thinking of Jeff King. I couldn't come up with the name of the show.
Well, I guess I didn't know this, but he had a reoccurring segment in Captain and Casey.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where he would just like build these obstacles and stuff. Because I mean, I shot the studio stuff. You know, kind of like this. Like you go in, like Jeff and Chris are there, and they sit down. The guest comes in, and they do the ins and outs and the buffers. And now we're going to go to this segment. I did a couple of those
segments.
Not really. Yeah. No, I mean, I did a couple myself, but most of the time, those segments weren't done by the time we shot the studio stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, "Yeah, that was
freestyling
sick."
it. Yeah.
Now check this out.
Yeah, exactly. We don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And so we would do like generic ones. Like, no, we're gonna go over here, type
Right.
of thing to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
But yeah, I did all the studio stuff, all the all the stage stuff with those guys, and then right away after that, Built to Shred kind of fell into Matt's lap somehow. I don't exactly know how, but they had already done 2 seasons of it, and Matt was like, because he had a production company, he was kind of up and running and doing it that way, and he's like, I'm going to do the show Built to Shred. You want to jump on board? And I was like, absolutely, let's keep going. So it was a really, really good way for me to transition slowly and confidently from just shooting skating to like things outside and network television and that type of stuff.
Still in the bubble, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely still in the
Still in the
100% in the
skateboarding bubble. What network was Built to Shred on?
That was also Fuel.
Yeah,
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was
Oh.
Fuel.
I think Fuel was owned by Fox.
But then that's weird though. So maybe they kept. I don't know the ins and outs, but maybe because that was after Captain and Casey.
Yeah.
Like we didn't do those simultaneously.
Right.
So yeah, they must have kept Built to Shred around a little bit. Yeah. But it's funny. It's like, so that was almost a little bit of breaking the bubble or expanding on the bubble, because it was motocross, it was surfing, it was we had to incorporate all action sports,
Right.
you know, type
The daily
of thing.
grind.
Yeah, yeah, right. Oh, gosh.
But then how many seasons was Built to Shred?
2.
Oh, only 2.
Well, so they did, so they had already done 2, and then I DP'd seasons 3 and 4.
Okay.
And then by the time we did 4, I felt like I was getting a really firm grasp on like lighting and camera and movement, and being able to shoot something that was, it was like skateboarding based, but it had a broader appeal in terms of like a television audience.
Right.
Yeah, I was really trying to polish it to make it more like aesthetically dynamic. That was my goal with like season 4. Season 3 was like, well, this is already established. You know, Jeff knows what he's doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me come in and kind of like pick up the pieces and like carry the torch. And then that went well. And then so season 4, I then took like a much more hands-on, like we need these cameras and we need to go do this. And, you know, like I really tried to set the look and really like fine tune it as best as I could.
Okay.
And so then, we shot season 4, and then I guess that was it. They didn't want to, they didn't want to do it anymore.
Huh.
after
Did we
that.
spend too much money on cameras this year?
Production value.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think it was all up to Jeff. I don't know if he wanted. Yeah, I think he was kind of like wanting to do something else.
Was Jeff a diva?
Not with me.
No?
No, not with me. I mean, I've heard stories that people. Yeah. Well, have you?
I've heard stories.
Have you heard stories? No, because it's like I had a really good relationship with him, because I was like, there was like a build crew, obviously, and he was like the designer, and so like he would come in and he would help build, but he would design, you know, a lot of it.
But after Built to Shred, because I want to get into this,
Right.
because this is super interesting to me, because
Okay.
you went on to do Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Was that like,
How the hell did you end up?
Wait,
with
wait, real quick on
Yeah,
that.
right.
I went to China with him.
Oh,
Me and Tim went on a
that's
little
right.
China trip together, and it was awesome. That's where I got to meet him.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
remember me and him went to lunch after we filmed something, and he's like, dude, I got this idea. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but
Yeah.
I really want to do this show called The Deadliest Catch. And I was like,
Right.
I'm like, you completely sound nuts.
Did I tell you that there?
Yeah,
Really?
you told me that,
Yeah.
and then you're like, dude, I'm gonna try to do it when I go home.
Right.
And then next thing you know,
because we all know the show.
yeah,
Right.
It's fucking gnarly.
Exactly.
I mean, you can
Right.
get killed out there.
Yeah, you absolutely could get killed
So
out there.
what the hell were you thinking? What happened?
I just wanted to be put. I again comes back to respect. Like I loved the show. I was a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
loved the show.
Me too. Love it.
Yeah, knew all the captains, knew the storylines in and out, and I used social media where I was like, I know somebody out there knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and like I got a response from Steve Hernandez. You know?
yeah.
And he's like, my buddy is one of like the deckhands on the Northwestern.
Oh,
Steve,
he skates. The guy on the deckhand skates, right?
He did for at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess him and Steve did. Like, because I guess Steve grew up in Seattle. I don't-
San Bernardino.
Okay, somehow.
So
right.
so Steve got me the contact information
He
for.
probably met him through Brian London or something like that.
Yeah,
Because I think he was from up in that area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he was like, hit up my friend. Like, my friend is on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy Jake Anderson.
Okay.
You know, and so Jake, I reached out to him. It took me forever. It was funny. It took me forever to get a hold of him. And then when I finally did, he thought I was pitching him a show to do like with him.
Oh.
And I was like, no. Like, I'm a camera guy. Like, I come from skateboarding, and like, I want to be on the Deadliest Catch.
No
I want to be
way.
a camera operator on Deadliest Catch. It's like, oh, okay. So you need to contact like
This
so-and-so.
dude, a laundry list of people, like all the EPs on the show, and there's like 10 of them.
Oh wow.
So I was like, okay. But this is another thing I've learned. It's like if you could be persistent with stuff, or you could just be annoying. But if you know how to walk like that fine line, then people are going to take you seriously.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so I emailed these guys nonstop, basically not taking no for an answer. And then they're like, okay, since Jake is saying, we know who this guy is, come on in for a meeting. We'll see how it goes. Oh. And I went in there and I just pitched myself. And what I basically told them was like, okay, I don't have any, docu-reality style TV experience whatsoever, but I'm not looking for a free trip to Alaska. And if you hire me, I guarantee you can forget about me. I will not complain. Yeah. I will not bitch and moan. I will make your life easier. And I think that's what sold them, because like any think about it, any employee that you bring onto a project, a business, you don't want excess baggage. Right. You want that person to make your life easier. Yeah, sure. And so that's what I told them. And then he looked, this guy Jeff Conroy, he's like, yeah, I think you're ready.
No way.
I think you're ready. We'll get back to you. And then like 3 days later, he called me. He's like, you know what? We're gonna actually be doing this other show first called Axemen, and we'd like to see how you do. So we're gonna send you up, and we're gonna have you shoot Axemen before you shoot Catch.
Okay.
And I was like,
that show's pretty dangerous too.
Dude. Yeah, they're cutting down trees and shit.
Way gnarlier than Catch.
Really?
Way gnarlier.
What?
Yeah, that's dude. Like,
you got trees falling over. Like, now let me ask you a question. Yeah. Because you're married at the time, right?
Yeah, I was married. Yeah.
What is your wife? Is she like Tim?
Well, we didn't have kids yet.
Okay,
we didn't have kids yet.
That made the decision a little easier.
And this is the thing. It's like it wasn't like all of a sudden I was like, hey, I got hired to do this show.
You've been talking about it for. She knew it was like a passion thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going after this.
Okay,
I'm going after this.
She thought you were a little nuts. Huh?
Everybody kind of thinks that too, but it was
something you wanted to do.
It was just something I wanted to do. Yeah, and so it's funny. It wasn't like, well, I'm now gonna break the bubble. Mm-hmm. I didn't think of it like that. Right. It was just like, this is something I love. This is something I respect, and this is an experience I want to experience.
Right.
And so yeah. So they sent me up to Sequim, Washington.
Oh wow.
Because they had a month left to shoot whatever season of Axemen they were doing. And it was basically a testing ground.
Yeah.
And dude, you could get hurt, maimed, killed, like
everything,
so many different ways on that show. Yeah, it's nuts. And so I mean, I obviously I did okay, but I mean, you just hear log, and then you look up, and like a log would come, because they would cut down these trees, and they pull them up to like this center area.
Okay, yeah.
Well, like pulling it up, sometimes it would slip out of the chain, and that thing is just going to come barreling back down to where you are. And as like the new guy, like I was down in the field with the loggers, so that basically these types of shows are run in terms of like very small crews. There's 2 camera people, and then there's an audio person, and then there's a story producer.
Okay.
Like you have to have the smallest footprint possible when you go on to like a working logging site. You can't like have crews running around and stuff like that, you know?
Because they'll get killed.
Dude, it's just, the liability.
The more people you have around, and then you're getting in their way.
You're getting in their way. Yeah, it is literally like documentary, you know? So you just have to get embedded with them as best as you can. You have to document what's going on. And so you have a story producer, a guy up there like saying, oh, well, this guy doesn't get along with this guy. They're formulating the stories, but your job as a camera operator or a DP is just to capture that action as best you can. And so like I was down like in the pit, you know, and like there's miles and miles of these logging areas. And so you're just off into the bushes, and you're not even walking on solid ground. The ground that you're on is trees that have fallen before. So you think that you're stepping on something solid, and your foot could go down like 15 feet.
Damn.
Yeah. So at least on a boat, like, you're on a boat. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you do. Like you have like a general understanding of like the geography and where you are. But like on the side of that logging like hill was nuts.
So you were on there for a couple months.
I was on that for a month.
A month.
I did that for a month. So
I survived, obviously.
Survived.
Yeah.
Came home for a week and then got flown to Alaska.
So they liked your work. They said, this guy, we'll put him on Deadliest Catch.
I didn't complain.
No. But they did. They that was a testing ground.
Absolutely.
And
so. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like I go back to how I shot skating. Like I tried to put the camera in different areas, you know, like get low, you know what I mean? Like make it look bigger and heroic and stuff like that. So everything I kind of learned from shooting skating, I applied to TV. Yeah. And so, it worked. And again, I think it had so much to do with the fact that I delivered and I didn't bitch and moan. Okay. You know, that's seriously so much of that equation, you know? Yeah. So a week later,
you're on a boat.
What they do for Catch is they fly you up and you're there for 2 weeks before they actually go out and start fishing for crab.
Why?
It takes about that amount of time to rig the boats, because there's like not 8 or 9 stationary cameras all around the boats, and you gotta get embedded with these guys. You're a camera kid from Santa Monica, you know what I mean? And you're about to hang out with some of the saltiest, gnarliest dudes who have been doing this for generations. Like their dad's dad built this boat. Wow. And this is what they know. And you're Hollywood, you're gonna come in here. So you really need to figure out your way and not piss them off. Right. And get them to like you and get them to trust you and sit down with them and spend a lot of time with them. So when you are out in the middle of it, then they know you can handle yourself. And it's gonna be a kosher working relationship. Okay. Yeah.
Did they ever fuck with you?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I basically didn't sleep for 2 months because that's when they would get you.
Oh, when you're sleeping?
Yeah, if you're sleeping. Wow. Yeah.
But what would they do?
Oh, I mean, they would tie your blankets to a buoy and then throw the buoy over, and so it would rip off and go up and then go overboard.
No way, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Or they would douse water on you, and
it's cold.
It's like 4 a.m. You're in the middle of the Bering Sea, and and then the alarms go off, and so you're like, we got a problem, like they would they would ride you, but it was all in good fun.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, like, how long are you out on the boat for?
Well, it's really however long
the fishermen
it takes them to catch their quota.
Okay.
Yeah. So Deadliest Catch is broken into 2 crab seasons. There's the king crab and then there's the Opelio crab. Mm-hmm. King is in October, November, maybe December, and then they have to shut down. Like they have to put their boats away and then fix all the damage, because like those pots get torn apart, like in those environments. Yeah, like holes. And so, and Opelio are smaller, so they got to re-thread the pots a certain way so they don't get out. Yeah. And so then you go back in January and then again, probably January to like March or something. But what happens is, so when you're out on the water, so you go up and then you rig the boats and you get assigned to a boat, and I was assigned to the Time Bandit.
Oh yeah.
And so and those guys were amazing. The Hillstrand brothers were just like, they were the coolest dudes ever.
Sick.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And then when you finally go out to sea, you can only be out for about 10 to 12 days, because then the crabs start to die.
Oh, in the tank.
In the tank, yeah. And they release a toxic poison when they die.
Oh, we'll kill everybody, all the crabs.
Start killing all the other crabs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to so basically you have to figure out like, okay, I think I'm going to go this way because I think this is where the crab are, and then I think I'm going to have this much by day 7 or day 10. So
turn back around, go home.
Well, no, there's all these little islands out in, tiny, Cold Bay, Alaska, the smallest place I've ever been. Population 250. Oh. They all work at the processing plant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, there's all these little places like that exist that aren't on maps, what I mean? And they strategically kind of book like an offload session.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and if you miss that, there's another boat that's going to come in, 6 hours, 12 hours later. So you cannot miss that offload. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they kind of have to guesstimate how well they're going to fish, how much they're going to have, and then where they're going to be around day 10.
It's a whole science.
Dude, it's nuts. And the other thing that's crazy is they have like floating processing plants. And so you could be in the middle of the Bering Sea in like 40-foot seas, and you're tied up to this mobile processing plant, and you're just sitting there getting rocked for 20, because it takes about 24 hours to offload everything.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and then they offload everything, and then they count it to make sure like the weights and all that kind of stuff, and then they go back out. Exactly. Man. So you could literally be on the water
forever
for the whole time if you're offloading to these floating plants. Yeah.
Did you I mean, like, it's dangerous. Right. Was there any incidents out there that you were
Dude, there was a couple. I mean, funny thing is, the first question people ask are like, are you tethered? Are you tied to something? And like, that's the absolute worst thing you could be. Because if you got 1,000-pound pot swinging over your head and that thing comes out of the
you can't move,
and you're stuck and that thing's coming down on you, you're done.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to have complete
free
mobility. Yeah, and those shows are shot. That show is shot the same way Axemen is, where you've got a camera guy in the wheelhouse with the captain, like basically on him the whole time.
Okay.
And then you have a guy on the deck.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, if I'm gonna do this show, I'm gonna be on the deck.
On the deck.
Yeah. It's like, why else would I do this?
So it's two of you on the boat.
Two.
Yeah.
That's it. And then all those stationary cams.
And you man all those cameras too, like collecting all that
What about the
footage?
story producer? The line.
No, that's a really good question. So what you have a satellite phone, and so how many? There's like 6 or 8 boats within the show. You have a designated time every single day to call in to the, like, Original Productions was the production
story notes.
to talk about what's going on. And then those people who are geniuses at their job will say, okay, well, like, go this way with it or go that, like, they would
encourage you to produce like a segment in a way.
Well, they would help guide it, you know, because, like, again, you're not out there saying, hey, say that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's totally documentary style, but you do have to come back with stories. And like, if you watch that show, the main stories revolve around whether or not they're catching their crab, if there's any technical issues on the boat, or what the weather's like.
Yeah.
Every story will funnel under one of those 3 headers.
Okay.
And so you'll be like, well, the weather's been great. Okay, don't go that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they'll help. So, but it's great. Like, and then you get like, hi, click, disconnect. You know what I mean? Because the service is so bad. So it takes probably like 3 hours. Calling back and forth to communicate what you did in the last 24. Yeah. And then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. And that's how they build the stories throughout the show.
And they're just giving you like tapes and tapes and tapes and tape. Like they're
so how they deal with like the technical elements is you have probably like 5 or 6 cameras per. So you have like 12 cameras that you can go. Those things get demolished, quickly.
And there weren't GoPros back then.
No, there was no GoPros then. No,
just all like lipstick cams.
No, we didn't even have those. I mean, this is when the
little handy cam
Z7 came out, so it was still a tape-based camera.
Yeah,
but like
the TRVs.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of what we used as the stationary ones. But those were. I wasn't super concerned with like the cameras because they're like, this is what we use. I'm like, okay, but they're all hooked up to decks that record. You know, like on large, like 20. So you could pop that in and go get, 3 or 4 hours sleep while those are all recording. So you just knew you had to go back to those decks at a certain point and then change out those loads. Okay. But what they do, and this was a great thing to be told when you have your first orientation when you land in Alaska. So they're like, there's a chance that your boat will sink, and there's a chance that you're going to go down with it.
Wow.
So make sure before anything terrible happens. This is a waterproof Pelican that's like fluorescent orange or something, Put all your tapes in there, before like when you're done. When you're done, make sure you put them all in there because if the boat sinks, we'll find the Pelican.
Oh, so you're so
they were holding on to the Pelican. They were like, but like, don't worry about it. We'll find your footage. Right. But the boat will go down.
But what you're saying is you're constantly just putting the tapes in the Pelican case. You're not saying like, oh, in a case of an emergency, dump all the tapes. You're constantly. But they were
very concerned that you might forget to do that, and then if an accident happened, like the footage would get lost. Right. I was like, yeah, well, okay, I see that, but I was like, wow, okay, yeah. But so what you do is there's a chase boat because if you watch the show, there's an angle like a faraway angle like of all the boats, and so there's a chase boat that's basically.
It's going to establish in shots.
Exactly. Okay. But he's loaded up with gear, and he's got like they basically it's like a floating like rental house. Oh, wow. And they got tons of cameras sitting by. They got tons of tape stock, and they'll do that. So that chase boat is it's at the most it's 24 hours away from you. Usually around 12. Because they have to be responsible for the whole fleet. And so they'll make a rendezvous point with you, and if you have any gear that you need to give them and get back, or after your Pelican fills up, they show up and you throw it into the ocean and they pick it up like a crab pot. And they take the footage.
No way.
Yeah, so basically every week or so, you have a rendezvous point with the chase boat. So you're not just sitting on 2 months worth of stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's how they get it.
I
mean, they can't board your boat, you know, like the
They're working.
The conditions are insane.
Yeah.
No, you can't tie a boat up next to a boat in the middle of the Bering Sea.
True.
Yeah. And so you're like, okay, here you go. Like, hopefully this is cool. And
hopefully it's waterproof.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
so crazy.
trying to go through all that footage and like edit the fucking show?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I get pissed
couldn't.
editing this show. Like, could you imagine?
You're an editor too. I mean,
That's why I don't do it anymore.
Dude, oh my goodness.
Dumping it into the ocean like Roger and
That's
Chris.
just, I just couldn't. They're like, they told me that. I'm like, how? I'm gonna do what?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they're gonna throw it into the ocean and we're gonna scoop it up. I was like,
That's insane.
I was like, well, this is season 7, so
They gotta know what they're doing.
They do at this point.
But I mean, what a great opportunity,
Dude,
though.
I mean, yeah, and you know, guys got seasick. I mean, other camera guys got airlifted out.
Oh, wow.
They had to be replaced. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, I was able to weather that first initial storm, no pun intended, really, and then get my sea legs, and I was good.
fine.
I was good, and you know, I think very many people could say they experienced something.
Sure.
Like that,
Oh my
right?
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I've gone fishing on a lake.
well, you're from the Boo.
It was a lake. Yeah. It was a lake. No, it wasn't any waves.
It was amazing, and I'm very glad I did it.
Yeah?
And I didn't want to do it again.
No.
Yeah.
But the perseverance paid off. You got on there.
Yeah,
You went to Axeman.
absolutely.
You did that thing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I know we want to wrap this up pretty soon here,
Sure.
but I want to go into some other things that I know that you, because you worked on some Curb episodes, right? And I love that. You know, that's my favorite.
I wanted that
dude.
invite, though.
I know you didn't call me.
I sent you the photo.
I know, and I
sent
said,
you the
"Fuck you."
photo.
Yeah, I texted back, "Fuck you."
I was like, I got it.
I think
dude.
I don't remember.
I
but-
got it. I think you did.
I remember being with Chris when he got that.
Did you
photo.
really? Yeah.
He was like, dude, I can't believe he's
Yeah.
with Larry.
I mean, I don't do
Curb,
that. Like, I don't even post really, but like that one had to go.
Oh,
to you
yeah.
right away. No, I mean, that was phenomenal. It's like, it's just interesting because like when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I went to see Amadeus, and like that just blew me away, you know. And then fast forward, however many years, 30 years, and then I'm sitting there shooting F. Murray Abraham, you know, who plays Salieri in Amadeus, and I'm like, the episodes that I did, he was a featured character.
Okay.
And I kind of became like F. Murray Cam, you know.
Oh, yeah.
We hit it off,
Oh.
and so like I shot most of my scene work. I would be locked on him, or I
Okay.
would hold like wides with Larry and everybody else. And I'm like looking through my viewfinder. I'm like, dude, I'm like filming Salieri right now. You know, it was just this crazy thing where it's like things have really come full circle. Yeah, super lucky.
And
Super
Larry
lucky.
David, you know, they
Insane.
it's all improv mostly.
Yeah.
They have a storyline to follow,
Right.
and they need to get from point A to point B, and
Right.
however they get there, they get there.
Completely.
And
made
so
up.
you, as a camera guy, you have to follow their lead, right? I mean, if Larry just all of a sudden starts running somewhere, like you got to be ready to like.
Yeah, but luckily you have your director in your ear.
You have your DP in your ear.
Yeah.
You have your DP in your ear.
But you never know what it's not a scripted thing where it's like, oh, Larry's he's gonna look off to these. They're just going.
Yeah.
They're going. I mean, they stay within a certain parameter in terms of like location. Like he's not going to just take off and like run down the street.
I get it. Right. But you know what I mean, though. Like
Sure.
they could do whatever.
It's different every time. And what I learned was you're exactly right. The scene started a certain way. It had to end a certain way, and how they got there was completely made up.
Yeah.
And so usually around.
Kind of like our show.
That's how People at BAM was.
Yeah, true.
So it was the same thing, but yeah, he would, those rants were hilarious, man. Their stream of consciousness, and like he just by take 3, he would just fall into it, and it would just click, and boom, 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 and then it would be on to the next thing. But you're right, you had to totally kind of be one step ahead of the curve.
Sure.
And with like me and the other operators were like, oh, it's kind of like using the force. You know, you got to kind of feel like where it's going to go and what direction it's going to go.
Did you ever just like be laughing at what was going on?
Yeah,
I feel like that would be hard to like maintain your composure.
Guy's shaking his camera a lot.
A couple times.
Laughing.
Well, it'd be funny because they call cut, and then like, you know, Video Village would be, you know, not necessarily close, but not far away either. And then you just hear like the roar. It was amazing.
Wouldn't it? That's an experience.
It was an amazing. Yeah, it's insane.
You've worked on literally. Okay, I liked Deadliest Catch. I'm never a fan of X-Men. I watched the show a couple times, right? But Deadliest Catch was cool. I was a fan of that. But then you worked on my Curb Your Enthusiasm, and now you just worked on the latest season of Arrested Development.
Yeah,
wow.
The one that's on Netflix. Yeah. I was like, I got lucky because I was like a reoccurring operator for those shows, and it turned out to be one of those things where they would bring me in when they did big setups, you know, and they did big setups a lot, and so I was getting a lot of days on them, and so that was just it. And the funny thing with Arrested is like you shoot a little bit of episode 501, and then you shoot a little bit of 503, so it's like
piecing it all together.
You're piecing it all together, and you're trying to figure it out too.
Weird.
Yeah, well,
because you don't have the script, you're just the camera operator, and you have to do that scene or whatever, so you don't know.
You get what they call sides.
Okay.
You know, which is just a short version of that scene.
Right.
You know, okay, this is what we're gonna shoot. You know, like they're gonna come in here and they're gonna have their dialogue and this that. But I think a lot of it was with Arrested was just coordinating, you know, the cast and getting them all, because like they brought them all back together.
Well, because the last season they were kind of it was kind of sporadic and whatever. So I haven't watched this season yet.
I haven't either.
I've been meaning
actually.
to. But it's such a that show is so brilliant.
Yeah,
and all the actors are just geniuses.
Did Troy Miller?
You know Troy?
Yeah, Troy did Viva Bam.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Did he what, Raj?
Troy Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the director. Basically, his production company, Dakota Pictures.
Oh, okay.
Viva Bam.
Yeah. He was
and they're the ones that brought back Arrested Development.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, Troy's phenomenal, and he's also.
He did skate TV too.
Did he shoot? Because he's a local. So like it's like a union. Whatever, like you have to be in the union to shoot these things. And so Troy's like local 600 operator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did he shoot Viva back then too, or was he?
He did
just
all the
directing?
helicopter stuff.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's amazing. Like he would shoot sometimes. He would run around, but he was director.
Yeah.
He was directed it. Yeah.
He did Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
But Arrested Development, would they like freestyle a lot of the stuff too, or was it kind of mainly scripted?
No,
it was really scripted.
It was more fine tuned.
Because those guys are so good that like they're amazing.
I think
a good show.
It's hilarious, and I think what they were doing, like the nuances, like the reactions, you know, like God would come in and like do something, and then do something, like all those little moments that they would bring to the table. To me, are what made Arrested so funny.
Oh yeah, and Tobias, love him as my fan. He's a never nude.
Yeah,
love it.
Just like Kelly.
Yeah. So everything. I was telling you earlier that like there'd be a shot and like there'd be something going on, and then like the guy would walk by, and then in the background, in the very, you would see him his legs or his feet going up the stairs, and like just those little things where you're like, that's funny.
Yeah,
like that little things.
Well, like Curb, like those moments too they're so choreographed.
Yeah,
and but that's what I thought was good for me. And I got lucky, just so lucky being able to fall in with the group of guys that do that. But the aesthetic, the style of Curb and Arrested is very much docu-reality. It's like so it's not like I worked on Bones. You know, I was on like the last season of Bones as an operator, and that's very locked off, fine-tuned, precision framing. Camera doesn't move very much. You know, that's the aesthetic of that show. Arrested and Curb aren't like that at all, and they reminded me of being in the field, like shooting the docu stuff. And so like I think it helped out a lot because I was able to bring that experience to Curb and Arrested as well.
It's a lot. It seems like way more fun to shoot like that than just a locked off shot. And like, you know what I mean? Because you're actually putting you're into it.
Right.
You know, you're you're not just like eating an apple watching them, locked off shot.
It's just different. It's different. Yeah. It's just a different experience, you know? So,
Right.
but
Any other shows we need to know about that you did? Bones? That's cool.
Yeah. Bones was fun.
Yeah.
I was able, we were talking before, I was on The Good Place for a little bit. Oh, sorry. That was your buddy. Sorry. Yeah.
My old roommate, Johnny.
Johnny Martin, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I was I got on a couple episodes of The Good Place, and then this IFC show called Documentary Now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I worked on that. So it's been.
Seems like there's a lot of work out there because Netflix and there seems like there's a lot of shit going on.
It is. Yeah, there is. It's like the Wild West in a weird way, because Netflix is spending so much money, Amazon, Hulu, all these streaming platforms are spending a lot of money to pull in an audience, So there is a lot of work, but it also feels like I could be doing more, It's one of those things.
Is there anything that you want to do? Is there any shows out there that you're really interested in working on?
Honestly, there isn't. I've been working a lot with this other DP. His name's Scott Cunningham, and he does a lot of big music video commercial stuff, and he brought me on recently, and I was an operator for him on this Will.i.am project. And so it's what I really enjoy is just trying to keep it as versatile and different, because I kind of don't want to be like you're saying, the Bones, those guys just get known to shoot bones, or even
get boring too.
Yeah,
it's just different. It's just different. Well, it's you can't really go handheld with those cameras because they weigh so much. It's a different aesthetic, and plus it would be a nightmare to handhold those things. Yeah, but no, I just really like keeping it different and fresh. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's my goal.
It's cool though. You don't get stuck into one thing.
Well,
hit or miss, right? Double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
Right? You're secured doing one thing, but at the same time going out and doing different things too.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Broke out of the bubble, huh? Look at you.
Well,
now he's back in it right now.
He's back into it.
I know. We brought you back in the bubble.
Circle, yeah.
Not that the bubble's a bad thing.
Right.
I don't want, but there is a bubble.
Sure. Sure.
And even with this show.
Right.
We're in the skateboarding bubble.
Right.
As soon as we have The Rock on here or other celebrities, we'd have to go in a different direction to exit the bubble.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And how do you stay connected to the bubble? And it's a very, it's an intricate thing.
We have a common thread though with our show.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's your through line.
It's Rock,
But I think it would just be funny to have The Rock sitting next to Roger. This huge fucking guy.
I'm feeling a Rock and kickflip.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could too, but he just seems like a cool dude. But there's other people celebrities that used to skate or their kids skate.
Right.
There's so many. But like I said, the bubble's there. It's not a bad thing, but it's hard to exit. You know? You've done a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It wasn't a grand master plan.
No.
It's I guess I broke out of the bubble.
I love it. I love it. Listen, if anybody asks for, they need another actor or somebody, somebody's called in sick.
Yeah, next season of Curb's supposed to happen at the end of the year. So we'll see if we can get you in the background there.
I'm your guy.
There we go.
I'm your guy.
Yeah.
Even if I'm...
Background guy?
Even if I'm in the background, I'm cool.
Let's do a quick gift before...
Oh, you had a gift?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we got a gift for you, though.
Go ahead. What do you got, Tim? Look at that. It's nice.
Gift wrap.
For Chris.
Did your wife do this?
No, I didn't.
No, are you sure, Tim? Look, it's got the paper and everything. It's a good gift bag.
That's for Kelly over there.
Mine right here.
So there's a thing with this.
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, because I see your show, I watch it.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's a podcast.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So this kind of goes
YouTube
in
show.
lines with, what's that?
It's a YouTube show.
It's a YouTube show. That's how I see it. But yeah, no, open your gift.
No, but it goes in line with
being a podcast. I think, yeah. So
wait a minute. It's kind of heavy, dude.
Yeah, it's got some.
Is there kombucha in here?
It's got no.
This is heavy.
Who would bring kombucha?
Tim Gavin.
There's these little these little airbags in here to make it all.
Tim Gavin brought kombucha.
This is heavy, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, Tim, this is
That's
amazing.
good, right? You like that?
Thank you so much.
It feels like a trophy.
So yeah, I figured since you guys are in my opinion, a phenomenal podcast.
Yeah.
The award for being a podcast is a potty.
Oh, a potty cast.
A potty award.
We got a potty.
Yeah,
dude.
And so careful on the top of the mic break.
That's a beautiful potty.
Wow.
There you go. The
Thank
Nine
you,
Club. Potty of the year.
2018 Potty of the Year, huh?
Potty of the year.
Potty of the year, dude.
Tim, let me
That
tell you.
Thank you,
is
Tim.
insane.
Potty of the year.
Tim, can I tell you something? Bro?
You could absolutely
This
tell
looked
me.
great next to
anything
my
you want.
Webby.
Let's hear
I've never gotten an award before.
it. You haven't got no.
Never gotten an award. Never got a trophy.
There's nothing in the potty. Don't worry about it.
It's a
But
little
I do
brown.
have. But I have written my acceptance speech.
There.
I carried around everywhere.
Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
since
we
I was
do.
15. I've been waiting for this moment forever. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
So rad.
Nine
Thank
Club.
you.
This must have cost
Yeah, what?
I don't
couple
know, man.
bucks,
20 bucks?
man.
Doesn't who
Look at
cares?
you, huh?
This is incredible. Thank
Yeah,
you so much
well,
for this.
Yeah.
Potty of the man, Tim.
Roger Bagley.
Kelly, go
Chris
give this guy a
Roberts.
mug.
Oh,
Go get him a
yes.
mug.
Can I get two? I
Yes.
love
Oh,
the
yeah.
mugs. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. It's a for those listening. It's a trophy. It's a
Right.
trophy with a toilet, a gold toilet sitting on the top of it.
Like
It's-
gold or bronze.
It's mine's gold.
Yeah.
Gold flakes,
There you
spreckled.
go.
Look at that. Huh?
All right.
Oh, we're sold out of the original Apple Yards.
Fucking guy, kill. I thought you were like.
I'm warehouse guy. He ain't.
I know, but
You
I
sent
thought,
this guy to the warehouse.
I thought you were bringing him up. He needs to learn.
Oh my goodness, you
No,
guys are hilarious.
he's not the. He's not the one.
He's not the warehouse. No, he's not the one.
Oh,
Oh, here
look
we
at
go.
that.
Look at
There you
this,
go.
bro. Tim Dowling, man.
Sweet.
He's got
That's
the potty
awesome.
award.
Look at that.
Did you get a potty award too, Kelly? I didn't even notice. Did you?
Kelly's got one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Three.
Hey,
there you go.
there's a Mark
no, wait, you really
Appleyard.
signed that. Oh, that's.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But you could put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah,
it's
well, that
okay
won't
if
come
you
off.
want.
One of eight.
No, it will come off, but
Yeah.
whatever.
That's
There's a
amazing.
Kelly's mug
That's
or
amazing.
whatever. The set,
Thank
and
you.
love mugs.
I
So
mean,
there's
coffee.
a black
I love
black mug for you.
Give him the white one too. Give him
And
the whole.
then I know you want the whole set.
Dude,
oh,
this
I
is-
wish we had the switch. You know what? When the Switch Flip Manny mug comes back in stock,
there you
which
go.
is soon,
Yeah.
we'll send you one.
Perfect.
You know,
I'm glad you
And
guys sold out.
Here's a gray. Oh, they sold out in one day.
They
Switch
actually
Flip Manny.
did.
Here's a gray
Love
hoodie.
Sweet.
www.
Oh, yeah, all available on the 9 Club website.
Love it.
There you go.
All right.
Tim Dowling,
Cheers.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for stopping
Tim.
by.
Yeah,
So
glad to-
Hey,
cool,
I'm
dude.
so stoked on everything that you did and everything
Wow.
you're doing. Can't wait for the listen video to drop. Hopefully, you'll figure out a
Re-release.
platform
There we go.
to re-release it on.
Yep.
And
You should
dude-
have a Chris Roberts documentary over you
Oh,
and
I'll-
Chris.
A
Oh
commentary.
yeah, I'll
Commentary?
commentary. Yeah,
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you don't talk enough.
He'll just talk about his part and then nothing
Yeah.
after it.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
My
And
pleasure.
I'm looking
Awesome.
forward to what you do in the future too, man.
Thanks, man.
Maybe more Curb,
Yeah.
more Arrested Development. I'd like to be on both of those shows.
What show you working on now?
I literally just finished a Food Network show. It's good
Oh, I
stuff.
love that.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
good.
Look at this potty awards
Dude,
and
this
everything.
is awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
Raj,
dude.
where are you going to put yours? Huh? I know you don't have a mantle.
In the bathroom, of course.
Oh,
There you go.
oh.
Love it.
You know what? I'm going to keep mine.
The golden
Oh,
toilet.
maybe I'll
There-
put mine right next to the Switch Flip.
That would be
Raj.
amazing. Yeah, you guys have some pretty serious gifts here, so I felt like the bar is you got
getting
to
crazy.
start thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, you really
But
did it.
yeah,
at that.
you guys are killing it. I love
Look at
it.
that, huh?
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I wish you would have filmed that, Tim. No, not taking
Yeah.
anything away from Jordan Block, who filmed that. But,
Oh,
you know,
Jordan did that
Yeah,
one? Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah.
But you were there for a lot of the golden moments.
That I was.
did.
That I was.
He created a lot of the golden moments with you.
And now we got to pop
Now we
that
gotta-
bubble.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Tim Dowling, thank you so much for stopping by, dude.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Big,
Yeah.
seriously,
Right
that's
on,
amazing.
Raj.
Thank
big
you.
fan.
Good stuff. Kelly,
Thank you, Tim. Thank
you
you for
go.
everything you've done for skateboarding,
right
and
on, man.
thank you for just being you.
appreciate
Yes.
it. Thanks, guys.